Just out of prison, I was forced to share an apartment with 7 stunning beauties. The hotel was your idea, you took off your own clothes, and it was you who wouldn't let go of my hand. So, I was forced. Looking at the stunning beauty still sleeping on the bed, Xuan gasped. Lying there was a gorgeous woman, about 1.7 meters tall, with a hot body and a pair of dazzlingly white legs that caught the eye. Xuan quietly moved one of her legs off him, and the floor was littered with more than a dozen used condoms, testifying to the intensity of last night's events. Over a dozen times in one night, no wonder his waist hurt. This beauty treated him like a workhorse. Last night, Xuan had just exited the Yunhai City airport when a woman suddenly rushed up to him, gripping his arm tightly, mumbling, "Quick, take me to the hospital." Because Jiang Yourong was under the influence of a drug and had been drinking, Xuan didn't hear clearly. "Huh. Take you to the hotel." Hurry, take me there." As the drug took effect, Jiang Yourong's consciousness became hazy. As soon as they entered the hotel, she began tearing off her clothes. Xuan quickly booked a room and escorted Jiang Yourong inside. Just as he was about to leave, a perfect body was revealed before him. Then, an extremely awkward situation occurred. Xuan had once been the young master of the prestigious Yi family in Beijing. After his parents died mysteriously, the Yi family regarded him as a calamity and cast him out. Later, he was taken away by his master, Old Ghost, and began his journey of cultivation. Years passed, and Xuan returned to China. Besides seeking revenge and restoring his family's honor, he also needed to repay Old Ghost by protecting a girl for the military. Xuan had vowed not to approach women until he restored his family's honor. However, reality was harsh. While he avoided women, women came looking for him. In bed, Jiang Yourong awoke to find a lean young man with no shirt on. Seeing the dozen used condoms on the floor made her feel murderous. She had been treated like a prostitute and had done it over a dozen times. Over a dozen times in one night. What kind of beast was this? Beast. You shameless person. No matter who you are, I will make you pay. Jiang Yourong glared fiercely at Xuan, angry and ashamed, ready to fight him. At that moment, a commotion erupted outside in the hallway. "Jiang, the reporter, stop hiding. You can't escape. There are people at both the front and back doors of the hotel. Not even a fly can get away." 7 or 8 men in black appeared in the hallway. The scar-faced man in the lead sneered, "You must be feeling hot all over after being drugged, huh? Why not come out so my brothers can help you cool down, har. An order just came down, she must be silenced. How dare a female reporter report us for drug trafficking? She is asking for death." The scar-faced man frowned, his gaze fixed on the room at the end of the hallway. He suddenly snorted. "The hotel surveillance shows she was on this floor last night. Search every room." Bang! 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 Loud knocks echoed through the hallway. Xuan smirked, "So, beauty, you're the female reporter they are after." "Oh." Jiang Yourong didn't answer. Her cheeks flushed red, her eyes hazy again as she suddenly hugged Xuan, saying, "Hot, so hot." Xuan was stunned. He hadn't expected Jiang Yourong to become aggressive with people outside. Feeling her fiery temperature, Xuan grabbed her hair and flipped her over violently. Outside the hallway, a subordinate frowned, "Boss, this door hasn't been opened. Should we burst in and check?" The scar-faced man, hearing the noise from inside, coldly laughed, "No need. That couple is probably busy this morning. The female reporter must have escaped. Let us search elsewhere." Half an hour later, the drug's effects on Jiang Yourong faded, and she regained her high cold goddess demeanor. She stole a glance at Xuan, and recalling what had just happened, she wished she could find a wall to smash her head against. 14 times. What 14 times? What do you mean 14 times? Xuan said indignantly, "Beast, scum 14 times. How can someone be so mistreated?" Jiang Yourong. "Tell me, why are they trying to kill you?" "Because I'm a reporter investigating Longhu Group's drug trafficking using KTVs." Jiang Yourong said, showing her credentials. Jiang Yourong, investigative reporter for Yunhai TV. Xuan finally understood, then gave a thumbs up, admiringly saying, "I really admire you investigative reporters. I, Xuan, will never tolerate gambling or drugs. But, your actions last night were no different from soliciting. You're no good yourself." Jiang Yourong grew angrier as she thought about it. Don't wrong me. Even though I slept with you last night, I didn't pay you, Yi Xian said, winking nonchalantly. If I didn't pay you, it doesn't count as solicitation, right? You're shameless. No face. Jiang Yourong, both angry and embarrassed, covered her ears. Her cheeks flushed, she wore a low-cut top that revealed a lot of skin, and her beautiful legs were encased in black stockings, both seductive and elegant. Yi Xian couldn't help but marvel at her perfect figure. She had to be at least a G. No wonder his waist hurt this morning. It turned out he had been with a big G last night. Tell me, what kind of compensation do you want? To be honest, I have some skills, Yi Xian said. Jiang Yourong shot him a glare, then pulled out a wad of cash from her wallet and threw it at Yi Xian. This money is for you. Last night was like I hired you. After that, Jiang Yourong flipped her hair and left gracefully. Yi Xian picked up the money and counted it, cursing, a total of 36 yuan and 50 cents, less than 2 yuan each time. What, do you think I'm a child's toy? However, just as Jiang Yourong opened the door, she suddenly stopped. Handsome, help. Jiang Yourong's trembling voice slowly rang out. Are you mentally ill? You called me a scoundrel and now you're asking for my help. Before he finished speaking, several fierce-looking men in black burst into the room, and the scar-faced man showed a sinister smile. Jiang the reporter is really hiding here. If I hadn't been cautious, I would have been fooled. They had pretended to leave earlier but had actually been waiting outside the door for Jiang Yourong to come out. Jiang Yourong, both frightened and angry, retreated. Did you all hear that? Perverts. Yunhai group are loan sharks, drug traffickers, and do all sorts of evil. Sooner or later, the police will catch you all. Har, we could hardly contain ourselves hearing what you just said. Jiang the reporter, you look so high and mighty, but who knew you were so wild in bed? Don't just let this guy have all the fun, let the brothers have a taste too. The crowd laughed wickedly and surged forward. Jiang Yourong, terrified, kept retreating, her face filled with fear. Chapter 2, the once impressive genius of the Yi family in Beijing. This time, let's see where you can run. A man grinned as he charged forward. Just as he reached for Jiang Yourong, a flash of light appeared, and a searing pain shot through his hand. Everyone turned to look. Yi Xian appeared like a ghost, blocking Jiang Yourong and twisting the man's wrist, breaking it with a snap. Damn. This guy was unbelievably bold. The scar-faced man was taken aback, not expecting the seemingly gentle Yi Xian to step in to save her and act so ruthlessly. I don't care who you are, get the hell out of here. Otherwise, you'll be dealt with too. In Yunhai group, anyone who interferes must die. Yi Xian smirked, Yunhai group. What's that? Kneel down, and I might consider leaving you intact. Hearing this, the scar-faced man froze, as if a knife had pierced his heart. Damn it. This kid dared to threaten them. Facing death, he still acted tough. The scar-faced man's fury surged, veins bulged on his forehead as he roared. Whoever kills this bastard can have this girl first. With his order, the eyes of the men in black all turned hungrily towards Jiang Yourong. Their gazes were filled with beastly desire. A perfect figure. A stunning face. This would surely be thrilling and exciting. It's over. Jiang Yourong trembled in fear. There were 7 or 8 of them, all armed with knives. There was no way she could escape. Close your eyes. What? Jiang Yourong was taken aback. I said, close your eyes, Yi Xian said coldly, because the next scene will be very brutal. Though Jiang Yourong didn't understand what he meant, she closed her eyes as if compelled. Immediately, her ears filled with a cacophony of harsh sounds. Screams. The sound of bones breaking. The tearing sound of knives piercing flesh. And also, pleas for mercy. It felt like she had suddenly descended into the 18th layer of hell. After an unknown amount of time. It's done. Yi Xian's voice finally reached her ears. Jiang Yourong slowly opened her eyes, and in the next second, her body stiffened. The room was completely empty. Not a single thug from the scar-faced man was left. Only Yi Xian remained, mopping up the blood on the floor with a mop. What just happened? Jiang Yourong managed to ask. I warned them to kneel and leave intact. They didn't listen, I couldn't help it. Jiang Yourong was utterly astonished. She had heard the sounds of the fight clearly. How could Yi Xian have taken care of them all in the blink of an eye? Impossible. They must have had an accident and left. She just didn't notice that Yishen had been pouring severed human fingers into the toilet. Big-chested girl, with your big breasts and no brains, you should just quit being an undercover reporter and go work as a call girl. I have no brains. Do you think I'm 3 years old? Jiang Yourong huffed. Sis, with your development, you're definitely not a 3-year-old. Don't call me sis. Yishen replied, but you're older than me, and you're also very well endowed. Pervert. Jiang Yourong's face flushed. This brat was so bad to the core the two bigs he mentioned had very different meanings. You can call me Yourong. I want tea. Why not? If I hear Yourong, I'll picture big Yourong. Meanwhile, in the provincial capital of Yun Province, Yunhai City. At the high-speed railway station. The local ultra-wealthy tycoon, Wang Qianba, who controlled a trillion-yuan empire, stood respectfully at the exit, next to a stunning beauty in a trench coat and high heels, along with hundreds of bodyguards in black. The atmosphere was serious. The scene was grand. Yourong, young Master Yi has come down from the mountain. You must take the initiative when you see him. Ensure that this prodigy can have his way with you. Best if you get pregnant with his child in one go. Wang Miaoyin pouted her fiery red lips. Uncle, you made me stay pure all this time just for him. Is it really necessary? Shut up. Wang Qianba snapped, looking tense. Do you know who he is? He was once the pride of the Yi family. His master is the Lord of Qianshan, who wiped out tens of thousands of troops in Donying. It's no exaggeration to say that as long as he wishes, with just one word, he can wipe out any force in Yunhai City. What? As soon as the words were spoken, Wang Miaoyin trembled, immediately realizing she had misspoken. She quickly said, "Don't worry, uncle. I will definitely win him over." With that, she unbuttoned another button of her trench coat, revealing a large expanse of black stockings. Reporter Jiang, your legs are so white and long it's a waste not to wear black stockings. At the hotel entrance, Yishen praised Jiang Yourong's beautiful legs. Get lost. If you keep staring, I'll poke your eyes out. Jiang Yourong glared at him angrily and got into a taxi. Yourong, goodbye. Never again. After waving her off, Yishen went to a spicy hotpot restaurant and pointed at the supreme combo on the wall, asking, "Boss, how much is this hotpot combo?" 37. Yishen clutched his 36 yuan and 50 cents tightly, unable to hold back a curse. He had worked hard all night and couldn't even afford a hotpot meal. If this got out, he'd have no face to live in Huaxia. The once feared #1 ruthless man of Qianshan prison, Yi Chijin, had actually become a lowly slave, working all night just to earn 36 yuan and 50 cents. Yishen couldn't help but lament, the women down the mountain are like tigers, devouring people without leaving bones behind. I'd rather be back in Qianshan prison. It was rumored that Qianshan had a prison housing the most vicious criminals in the world. Just pulling out one person could reveal 100 lives taken. Even the top 10 wanted criminals worldwide were just bottom feeders here. But who could have imagined that this prison, which held the world's most terrifying inmates, was built just for one person? A week ago, a car with a red flag arrived at Qianshan prison. #1 himself had come to request Yi Chijin's release. You can go back, I've done enough for Huaxia. I owe you nothing, Yishen waved his hand. The old man looked pleading, young Master Yi, only you can do this. It's also your master's wish. You mean that old ghost? He tricked me into going to Donying to see cherry blossoms, but it was actually to snatch some ancient techniques. He got the techniques and vanished, leaving me to kill my way in and out of Donying. That old dog, I'm not helping with his business. Young Master Yi, look at this. The old man respectfully presented a tattered book, the cover reading 5 large characters, 9 Heavens Star Sutra. Seeing the book, Yishen hesitated for a moment. Taking a deep breath, he said, my master has treated me like a son, his business is my business. I will take this book. Yishen accepted the technique and said flatly, what do you want from me? Protect a woman. I only kill, not save. Her name is Sukasan, 18 years old, the university belle, 1.7 meters tall, 45 kilograms, e-cup. When the country is in trouble, I must help. Yishen declared resolutely, then looked at the old man, tell me what rewards you can offer. The old man took a deep breath and said seriously, if you want to uncover the truth from 20 years ago, Huaxia will not interfere. If you seek revenge against the Yi family, Huaxia will not intervene. Everything is up to you. Remember your promise. Yi Xian coldly tossed out the words before turning to leave. Cheers erupted in Qianshan prison. We bid farewell to young Master Yi. Watching his disappearing figure, a middle-aged man with a star insignia furrowed his brow. Number 1, who exactly is he? Do you remember the once impressive genius of the Yi family in Beijing? Chapter 3, Boss, add more kidneys. The middle-aged general was taken aback and blurted out, is it really him? The Yi family's doomed star is still alive. 20 years ago, the prestigious Yi family in the capital welcomed a long-awaited grandson. On the day he was born, his parents mysteriously died, and all the plants in the Yi estate withered overnight. The Yi family invited 1,000 monks to perform rituals for 49 days. For the first 48 days, everything was peaceful. On the 49th day, the baby in the cradle cried out, and 1,000 monks bled and collapsed. In his youth, he was exceptionally talented, dazzling the capital. But he was seen as a cursed star, avoided by everyone. Then one day, he vanished without a trace, and there was no more news of him in the world. Internal strife within the Yi family, many forces coveting his position as the eldest grandson. The old master Yi couldn't bear it and sent him to Yunhai City to live. Later, before the old master Yi passed away, he entrusted the old ghost to take him away and take him as a disciple. When a hero draws his sword, it's another 10 years of calamity for the people. Boss, add more kidneys. In the spicy hot pot restaurant, Yi Xian shouted to the busy chef in the kitchen. Brother, can you handle eating so many kidneys? Damn, last night the female client was a bit fierce, it was a tough battle. Yi Xian grumbled. Before long, a steaming hot pot was served. While eating, Yi Xian dialed a long-lost phone number. Outside the hot pot restaurant, a black car pulled up, and a stunning beauty walked toward Yi Xian. The woman wore a white blouse that highlighted her exquisite curves, perfectly showcasing her ample bosom and tall figure. Her tight jeans clung to her long, shapely legs, making her utterly mesmerizing. Sister Sunny, I'm back. Yi Xian smiled and waved. You little rascal, where have you been these past few years? I was so worried. Jiang Yourong walked over, using her long legs to give Yi Xian a few playful punches, her eyes glistening with tears. Nothing much, just traveled around the world. Yi Xian only mentioned half of it, the other half was that while he was traveling, he had also killed many people. Jiang Yourong didn't say anything, she just gently held Yi Xian's hand, her gaze filled with concern. Feeling the warmth of her hand, Yi Xian smiled. Although he and Sister Sunny had no blood relation, she was the closest person to him in this world besides his grandfather. In fact, Jiang Yourong was just an abandoned baby picked up by old Master Yi, 5 years older than Yi Xian. Later, when Yi Xian left the capital, Jiang Yourong took care of him like a real sister, and their bond grew very deep. If those top-tier powerhouses from overseas saw this scene, they would probably be shocked, their eyes popping out. The killer, Yi Chijian, could be so gentle with a woman. Half an hour later, the car stopped in front of an ancient-style Chinese courtyard. This was a large courtyard with 3 entrances and exits, adorned with various flowers, all meticulously arranged. Eh? Why are there other women's underwear hanging in the yard? Yi Xian noticed the A-cup bras drying in the courtyard and looked curiously at Jiang Yourong, his gaze quickly sweeping over her chest. That size doesn't match. I forgot to tell you, I rented the place out, Jiang Yourong chuckled. Yi Xian said, that's fine. Living alone in such a big house is too lonely, having a few more people around makes it livelier. I guess there are 2 female tenants, right? How did you know? Jiang Yourong paused, clearly surprised he guessed right. A-D-G. Yi Xian said meaningfully. What's that? Nothing, just an esports club. Isn't it EDG? Jiang Yourong asked, puzzled. Yi Xian was speechless. When did girls start paying attention to esports? By the way, are the 2 female tenants pretty? Yi Xian blinked. Jiang Yourong smiled and whispered, one is a little nurse named Zhao Xiaoye, she's pretty and sweet. She's been away for training these days. The other is. Before she could finish, Jiang Yourong's phone suddenly rang. Yi Xian, go tidy up first. I'll cook something delicious for you once I'm done. Yi Xian walked into the bathroom, planning to take a shower first. Before long, the sound of rushing water filled the bathroom. At that moment, a beautiful figure entered the courtyard. It was Jiang Yourong. Hearing the sound of water flowing from the bathroom, Jiang Yourong paused. Could it be the little nurse Zhao Xiaoye returning? Her red lips curved into a mischievous smile as she suddenly opened the bathroom door. Which little cutie is taking a shower in there? Hee hee, come let your sister help you feel big. But as soon as she entered, she screamed, "Arr!" Jiang Yourong was completely stunned, unable to comprehend that inside the bathroom stood Yi Xian, completely naked, especially Yi Xian's certain part was incredibly eye-catching. Chapter 4, As long as I want, all of China is mine. Why are you here? Why aren't you wearing any clothes? Isn't it obvious? Why would I wear clothes while taking a shower? Yi Xian shouted while clutching a towel. Jiang Yourong was clearly taken aback by Yi Xian's exposed state, staring blankly for 2 seconds before snapping back to reality, her pretty face turning red with anger. You pervert! What are you doing here? This guy actually had the audacity to come and bother her. Hearing this, Yi Xian felt a rush of annoyance. What nonsense are you talking, you little vixen? Listen up, I'm the owner here. Huh. Jiang Yourong's face flushed. Is this little brat trying to play word games? Does he really think she wouldn't understand? Jiang Yourong huffed, I'm still your landlord. Talking to you is such a hassle. Did your brain grow on your chest? Yi Xian rolled his eyes, one hand holding the towel and the other lifting his phone. Chat history, take a look for yourself. After flipping through the chat for a while, Jiang Yourong's expression gradually stiffened. She remembered that Ji Yusini had said she would pick up her brother today and invited her over for dinner. So it turns out this guy is her landlord. This is so embarrassing. Just then, footsteps approached from outside the bathroom, growing louder. Yi Xian, who are you talking to? Bang! Jiang Yourong quickly shut the bathroom door, and since the bathroom was small, she had to stand very close to Yi Xian. Oh! Suddenly, Jiang Yourong trembled as if shocked, glancing back at Yi Xian. Her gaze swept down, instantly feeling both shy and angry. Yi Xian could only shrug helplessly. His little brother clearly had a mind of its own. He wasn't doing it on purpose. Ji Yusini walked up to the bathroom, smiling. Another female tenant has returned. Her name is Jiang Yourong. She is a reporter at a TV station, gentle and meticulous. You should interact with her more. Jiang Yourong. Gentle? Meticulous? Yi Xian scoffed, I don't like women who are all looks and no brains. There was a brief silence outside, then Ji Yusini's puzzled voice sounded, how do you know she has a big chest? Yi Xian replied casually, the sea can hold everything, and Jiang Yourong sounds like someone with a great figure. After a moment of confusion, Ji Yusini blinked, nodding slowly. This guy seems to be rambling, but it oddly makes some sense. At noon, Ji Yusini prepared a lavish feast. How does it taste? Ji Yusini smiled at Yi Xian and Jiang Yourong. The atmosphere between the two was incredibly awkward, neither looking at the other. Ji Yusini bit her red lips. It was their first meeting, and they wouldn't have just hit it off, right? After lunch, Ji Yusini helped Yi Xian prepare supplies for college. What do you think of Yourong? Ji Yusini asked with a gentle smile. Pretty good. Yi Xian replied nonchalantly, just too big. Too big. Did he think Jiang Yourong was too old? It made sense, guys usually preferred younger girls. Yi Xian wouldn't be worried about being too old, would he? Ji Yusini was taken aback for a moment, her expression a bit unnatural as she smiled. I know a little beauty named Lin Wana, she is a student at Yunhai University. By the way, she is pure and innocent, and more importantly, she is single and has never had a boyfriend. Ji Yusini shared her contact details with Yi Xian. Yi Xian's eyes lit up. After adding her, he didn't rush to chat but opened her moments to browse photos first. Unfortunately, Lin Wana's posts were set to 3 days visibility, so he could only see a message about a birthday party at Night Charm Bar tonight. As night fell. Yunhai City, Night Charm Bar. The deafening DJ music, beautiful women shaking their bodies, it was filled with the scent of hormones. As Yi Xian approached the bar entrance, the marketing manager rushed over. Brother, want a VIP table? The marketing manager beamed, grinning mischievously. Our bar has no shortage of beauties. Book a table, and the ladies in black stockings will eagerly sit in your lap. The manager suddenly brightened, pointing. Look. That is Lin Wana, the daughter of the Lin family, famous for her beauty. She is a regular here. Lin Wana? Sister's friend. Yi Xian scanned the crowd and saw a tall, stunning figure dancing in the center of the dance floor. She wore a lacy top with hot pants, accentuating her long legs, and her cascading hair flowed like a waterfall. Under the influence of the music, Lin Wanner twisted her waist freely, moving more boldly, inciting countless cheers from the men below. Yi Xian recalled Ji Yusin's words. Her best friend. Pure and innocent. Is this really her? Brother, what do you think? Hot or not? The marketing manager grinned, drooling. Just then, a fashionable young man with a grim expression walked over, flanked by several bodyguards, shouting, "Turn off the music." As soon as he spoke, the sound engineer dared not say a word and obediently turned off the music. Everyone on the dance floor stopped, turning to look. It's Sun Jie. Sun Jie's powerful Lin Wanner is in trouble. Sun Jie walked up to Lin Wanner, slamming the table and shouting, "Lin Wanner, I've been pursuing you for so long, and you haven't even replied to me. Do you think you can ignore me? You switch women faster than you change clothes. I don't want to date you, I'm afraid of catching something." Lin Wanner retorted coldly, showing no respect for Sun Jie. "Lin Wanner, you're not giving me face." Sun Jie's expression darkened instantly. "I don't like you. Besides, I already have a boyfriend." Lin Wanner said. "Bullshit. With me around, which fool would dare to date you?" Sun Jie sneered, "It just happens to be your birthday today, and since you have a boyfriend, let him come out." Lin Wanner's face gradually soured. She didn't have a boyfriend. She was just making that up. If no boyfriend showed up, Sun Jie would definitely not let her off. It's over. Just then, she suddenly looked into the crowd, grabbed Yi Xian, her face flushed as she said, "Sun Jie, he's my new boyfriend." Countless eyes turned to Yi Xian. This guy is actually Lin Wanner's boyfriend. Not only does he look average, but he's also wearing sportswear, just a regular guy totally unworthy of someone like Lin Wanner, the heiress of $1 billion fortune. Yi Xian glanced at Lin Wanner. "You sneaky woman. Using me as a human shield, huh?" Yi Xian pulled Lin Wanner close, looking at Sun Jie and boldly declaring, "That's right. I'm her new boyfriend. And just so you know, I've already slept with her. By the way, I think I didn't wear a condom." Holy crap. Everyone was shocked. This guy is really saying that. Even Lin Wanner trembled in surprise. "Dude, are you going all out here?" Sun Jie was struck like lightning. "What did you say? You slept with her? And without protection? Yeah, do you still want to pursue her? I'm offering her up. Who knows, your son might actually be mine." Yi Xian said calmly. "Bastard. You dare sleep with the woman I like? I'll kill you." Sun Jie yelled in fury, raising his fist to strike Yi Xian. Yi Xian remained calm. "Son, why are you so worked up? I just slept with the woman you like, not your mom. Look at you, your whole outfit must be worth only a few $100, just a pathetic loser. Can you afford to take care of Lin Wanner?" Sun Jie sneered viciously. Yi Xian replied lightly, "Even though I'm dressed simply, I can honestly say my assets are worth more than the entire Sun family combined. The powerful people under me can flatten Yun province in minutes. With a word from me, the richest man in Yunhai City will come to serve me tea. Making Lin Wanner happy is a piece of cake." Har har har. At this, the crowd erupted in laughter, many laughing until they cried. "Bragging is your forte. Why don't you say the whole of China is yours too?" Yi Xian, however, replied earnestly, "As long as I want, all of China can be mine." Chapter 5: Fierce and Powerful. Say less. Lin Wanner felt that Yi Xian was exaggerating, her cheeks flushed, and she whispered, "I'm afraid you don't even know who the richest man in Yunhai City is." Yi Xian said calmly, "Isn't it Wang Qianbar from Shenyuan Group? What I said is true. If you don't believe me, call Wang Qianbar now. Boy, if you keep talking nonsense, I'll kill you." Sun Jie's hatred surged, and he wanted to rush over and kill Yi Xian. "Are you angry now?" Yi Xian raised his eyebrows and showed a cunning sneer, "What about this?" Sun Jie was shocked, and when he saw the scene in front of him, his mentality collapsed. Damn it. This guy. He actually put his head in the arms of his favorite goddess Lin Wanner? And he was so close to Lin Wanner's chest. You know, for such a long time, he hasn't even touched Lin Wanner's fingers. What's more, this guy is just a poor loser. He really deserves to die. Sun Jie's mentality exploded, and he roared hysterically, "Bastard! Now! Move your head away! Otherwise, I will make you die miserably. Yishen shrugged his shoulders and sneered, if you ask me to move away, then I will lose face. I want to see how miserable you can make me die. After speaking, Yishen raised his eyebrows and pinched Lin Wanna's back. What are you doing? Lin Wanna felt the electric shock behind her body trembled instantly, and her pretty face flushed. Little bastard! How dare you touch my woman's ass? I will kill you! Sun Jie roared, his anger boiling, and he rushed over, aiming at Yishen and punched him hard. Lin Wanna was shocked. Be careful. He is a black belt in Taekwondo. Or a 9th degree in karate. However, 9th degree in karate? Black belt in Taekwondo? That's it. Yishen smiled contemptuously, with a hint of disappointment in his eyes. Just when Sun Jie was about to punch him, Yishen kicked him hard, but he was the first to arrive, kicking Sun Jie in the stomach. Sun Jie vomited a large mouthful of turbidity on the spot, fell to the ground, and screamed in pain. Damn it! Lin Wanna was stunned, because, although Sun Jie was a playboy, he really practiced martial arts since he was a child. He was a genuine black belt in Taekwondo and a 9th degree in karate, but he was kicked away by Yishen. Could it be that this stinky hooligan was several times more powerful than Sun Jie? Young Master Sun. The bodyguard in suits behind him saw this and rushed forward, helped Sun Jie up, and shouted angrily. Stinky boy, do you know who young Master Sun is? Do you know that you are looking for death? Yishen shook his hands and said nonchalantly, I don't care who he is. If anyone dares to touch me, I will kill him. I didn't kick him to death just now because of my wife's face. Fuck. So domineering. So arrogant. Everyone couldn't imagine what confidence this kid had to be so arrogant. Little bastard. I'm going to kill you. Come on. Beat him up. Sun Jie roared. 7 or 8 bar security guards picked up iron bars and smashed them at Yishen. Sun Jie smiled slyly and said sarcastically, Country bumpkin, don't you understand the situation? There are so many of us, we can kill you in a minute. Har har. Bang. But just as he finished speaking, 7 or 8 bar security guards have fallen to the ground. Yishen rushed over and kicked him. With a bang, Sun Jie was kicked and flew out, hitting the ground, blood flying from his nose, and he screamed, Arr. Suddenly, everyone in the audience was stunned. What's going on? This guy really dared to attack Sun Shao. In the territory of Yunhai City, there are still people who dare to attack Sun Jie. Just then, a siren sounded outside. The police are here. The crowd of onlookers immediately scattered. Very good, you are so brave. Wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth, Sun Jie said viciously, since you are seeking your own death, don't blame me for being rude. I will definitely find you when I get back and beat you to death. You asked for all this. After leaving the bar, Yishen found a corner and opened the floodgates. I just drank a lot of wine in the bar, and I'm still a little full now. Lin Wanner was so embarrassed that her face turned red. This bastard really treated her as his wife. He didn't even avoid suspicion. After draining the water, Yishen exhaled comfortably and turned to look at Lin Wanner. Tell me, I helped you, how should you compensate me? Lin Wanner was stunned for a moment, her face gradually turned red, and she said embarrassedly, Brother, I haven't had a boyfriend yet, can you let me go? Besides, there are many people here. Wait. Explain first, what do you mean by many people here? Yishen looked unhappy, he obviously didn't say anything yet. Who does this girl think he is? How can he, Ichijin, be a lustful person? Don't you want to do that to me? Lin Wanna's voice became smaller and smaller, and her face was full of shyness. In her opinion, Yishen risked his life to stand up and help, it must be because of his charming charm. Lin Wanna believed that a beauty like herself, who was so beautiful that she could overwhelm the whole country and make fishes and geese fall to the ground, was very reasonable for Yishen to have such thoughts about her. Who has such thoughts about you? Yishen glanced at the girl's flat chest and shook his head indifferently. Lin Wanna frowned, don't pretend to be indifferent here. Men are animals who say one thing and mean another, I don't believe it. Then explain why you helped me. Yishen was surprised, do you think it's for you? Lin Wanna was stunned, and felt a little disappointed after hearing this answer. Could it be that she had no attraction in front of this bumpkin? Lin Wanna pointed at her snow-white long legs, patted them, and said, Come, look at these legs. Are they white? White. Then she showed her shoulders, shook them, and said, "Come, look at these shoulders, are they smooth?" Smooth. Then she pointed at her face, pinched it, and said, "Look at this face, is it beautiful?" Beautiful. Yixian sighed, "It's a pity that you have an airport." Lin Wana was stunned, and then, she was angry and said, "I surrender, you are really amazing. Brother, you really don't know what's good. For someone like you, let alone being a wife, you can't even be a mistress. At most, you can be a maid." Yixian looked at Lin Wana seriously. Lin Wana. Stinky boy, don't think I won't beat you up just because you saved me. You're asking for a fight. After that, Lin Wana raised her fist and rushed towards Yixian, but after a while she found that she was no match for Yixian. Finally, Yixian pressed her down and spanked her hard. Feeling the burning sensation, Lin Wana could only beg, "Brother, stop beating me, I'll be your maid, okay?" Chapter 6. Because you've offended someone you can never afford to offend. Okay, since you're my little maid, you'll take my name and do my homework for me in class from now on, understand? Yixian pouted. What? Brother, you are also a college student. Lin Wana was stunned. I'm curious. You look like a veteran in society. How come you want to go to college? Yixian said sincerely, everyone says that college life is good. I haven't been there yet, so I want to go. Lin Wana lifted her long hair and said with a look of reminiscence. Hey, college life is just so-so. I have the most say in this. High school life is the worst. Junior high school life is the best. Primary school students. Yixian quickly covered her mouth. Stop, it's illegal to say more. Illegal. Lin Wana felt more and more that something was wrong. Looking at the smirk on Yixian's lips, she finally realized it and swung her little pink fist to hit him. At the same time, Jiang Yourong rode a small electric donkey past the alley. She received news that Yimaibar had that kind of bad deal. At night, there were many women with heavy makeup standing in the back street of the bar to solicit customers. So she came as an investigative reporter to dig for clues. However, she didn't expect that as soon as she parked her car at the entrance of the alley, she saw Yixian and a hot-dressed woman quarreling, and Yixian was spanking the woman's butt. Maid, bye. See you tomorrow, master. After saying goodbye to the girl, Yixian whistled and walked towards the entrance of the alley. Hey, isn't this reporter Jiang? Why are you here so late at night? Are you on a date? Yixian recognized the beauty in front of him as Jiang Yourong, so he waved his arm to greet her. Jiang Yourong was stunned for a moment. In order to ensure that she would not be discovered during the visit, she deliberately changed into a black coat and put on a helmet. Besides, it was night now, and there was not even a street light. How did this guy recognize her at a glance? Before she could react, Yixian had already walked over and sat directly on the back seat of the electric scooter, hugging Jiang Yourong's slender waist from behind. This figure is really amazing. No wonder men like to drive G-Class. What are you doing? Jiang Yourong was startled. Of course I asked you to take me home. Yixian pouted, I have to report to the university tomorrow morning. Do you still remember that you are a college student? Jiang Yourong snorted coldly, I advise you to do less illegal things in the future. For the sake of Sister Sunny, I will not report you this time. But if I see it again, you can wait to be caught. Yixian was stunned, you saw everything. Jiang Yourong was shocked. She just wanted to trick this guy, but she didn't expect him to confess. Yixian, you are so brave that you actually ran out to do such a thing in the middle of the night. HMPH. Jiang Yourong glared with her beautiful eyes, suppressed her anger and said, I advise you to be more modest in your private life. It is easy to get sick if you play with women at a young age. When did I play with women? What about the girl you were with just now? Jiang Yourong asked. She is Lin Wana, my college classmate, introduced to me by Ji Yusini. She has a birthday tonight, so I came to send her a blessing. What's wrong? Is that so? Jiang Yourong was a little speechless for a moment, and the atmosphere gradually became awkward. You don't think I'm hiring a prostitute, do you? Yixian said suddenly, if that's the case, I'll go find Ji Yusini and Lin Wana and ask them to help prove my innocence. Don't. Jiang Yourong hurriedly stopped him. You don't want me to tell them, unless. Yixian sneered. Jiang Yourong was stunned for a moment, and quickly protected the lights of the G-class, and said nervously, what do you want to do? Don't touch me. Don't touch me, just use your mouth. The next second, Jiang Yourong felt someone kiss her on the face. R. Jiang Yourong screamed, gritted her teeth, and looked up. We're even. Yishen ran faster than a rabbit. Damn rascal. Jiang Yourong touched her wet cheeks, and felt a tingling sensation in her heart. She walked into the room angrily with a red face and slammed the door. After a while, a colleague in the work group sent a message that someone was making trouble in Yunhai bar tonight. A rich second-generation bullied a girl. Fortunately, a boy stepped forward and rescued the girl. Jiang Yourong opened the live video and was surprised. The person who was brave enough to do the right thing was Yishen. It seems that I really misunderstood him. Jiang Yourong was more curious about Yishen. This kid must have a secret. On the other side, Yunhai bar. More than a dozen bar security guards, with bruised faces and extremely embarrassed, gathered together and talked about what happened just now. Damn it. If the police hadn't come, I would have killed that guy. He dared to provoke young Master Sun, he must be tired of living. Don't worry, if he provokes young Master Sun, he won't know how he died. Suddenly, an extremely angry roar with murderous intent sounded. Who can tell me what happened tonight? Everyone turned around and saw a Rolls-Royce parked at the door. The middle-aged man who got off the car was extraordinary, walking like a dragon and a tiger, and he was a real boss at first glance. Moreover, there were several black-clad bodyguards following him, all of them were top masters. The aura of these people was many times stronger than that of the dozen bar security guards. What? It's Wang Qianba. Wang Qianba from Shen Yuan Group. The dozen bar security guards were frightened and quickly stood up and said to Wang Qianba respectfully, "Meet Mr. Wang. You know, Wang Qianba is one of the 3 giants in Yunhai City. He is even well known in the whole Yun province. And Sun Jie's father is also one of the 3 giants in Yunhai City." Could it be that Wang Qianba heard that Sun Jie was bullied and came to defend Sun Jie? Boss Wang, the troublemaker has left, and young Master Sun has also left. The bar owner hurriedly came out to receive him in person, smiling as if to take credit. Young Master Sun is a distinguished guest of the bar, and that bumpkin doesn't know how to live or die, so we helped young Master Sun teach him a lesson, and now he has injured several brothers. Wang Qianba's face was extremely livid. Young Master Yi. Sorry. It's all our fault for coming a step late. Wang Qianba glanced at the bar owner and suddenly cursed, "You are so daring. Come on. Go in and smash the store. And these security guards, beat them all to death. A bunch of blind people. From today on, this bar will not open." The bar owner collapsed on the ground in fear and said in horror, "Boss Wang, why?" Wang Qianba was full of murderous intent and said word by word, "Because you have offended someone you can never afford to offend." Chapter 7. The female teacher is actually a natural beauty. Early the next morning, Yishen got up early as usual. As soon as he left the room, he saw Jiang Yourong standing barefoot on the yoga mat, with her hands clasped together and raised high, doing yoga movements. Her curvy figure was wrapped in a black tights. From the proud peaks to the slender waist, from the smooth back to the slender legs, full of mature curves of a woman. At this time, Jiang Yourong's body began to shake, and she seemed to be unable to keep her balance. Yishen came over seriously and instructed, "Lift your butt. Move the center of gravity back. Only in this way can you keep your balance." Jiang Yourong tried it and lifted her butt, and she really found balance. She was happy in her heart, but when she turned her head, she saw Yishen with a smirk on his face, staring at her from behind, with an expression of concentration. Jiang Yourong was immediately angry and embarrassed, and was about to punch Yishen. At this time, Ji Yusin's voice sounded in the front yard. "Yourong, is this your electric bike? How did it become like this?" HMPH. Jiang Yourong glared at Yishen, walked to the front yard and was stunned. She saw that her small electric bike was covered with golden Pikachu stickers, which looked stupid and cute. Jiang Yourong said coldly, "Who did this?" "I put it on," Yishen smiled, "I'll ride it for a few days before going to school." "Who agreed to let you ride it?" "Hey, I saved you once, so what's wrong with lending you an electric bike for a few days? Besides, you still owed me a request last night." "What request? Why don't I remember it?" Jiang Yourong pouted. "Yourong, you've learned bad things. You're actually playing rogue." Yishen shook his head and said helplessly, "I'll give you a month's rent exemption, okay? 2 months. Woman, you're bad enough. Yixian said with a look of heartache. I learned it from you. Jiang Yourong snorted coldly. This small electric car is only a little over 2,000 yuan, and the monthly rent is more than 2,000 yuan. A second-hand electric car can offset 2 months of rent, and she can still make a lot. Mr. Yi. As soon as she went out, a black car stopped by the roadside, and a middle-aged man with grey hair got out. The man was Yunhai, the president of Yunhai University. 2 years ago, he went abroad to attend an academic conference and encountered a local military coup. In the end, thanks to Yixian's help, his life was saved. How terrifying the 3 words, Yichijin are, he will never forget it in his life. Xiaozheng, I will rely on you to protect me in the future. Yixian patted President Xing on the shoulder. Zheng Yuanhai looked flattered and said respectfully, No. I am honored that Mr. Yi can come to our school. I came to pick Mr. Yi up to school today. No need, I have a car. Yixian patted the small electric car and said with a smile, Xiao Zheng, my identity cannot be exposed, just treat me as an ordinary student. Okay, everything is up to Mr. Yi. Zheng Yuanhai nodded quickly. Although he didn't know Yixian's intention, how could a small person like him guess the thoughts of such a big man? After a while, Yixian rode the small electric car into Yunhai University. Looking at those young beauties, his whole body was full of energy. He really wanted to experience how good college life was right away. This small electric car with a yellow Pikachu sticker immediately attracted the students' attention. Really, this car is too eye-catching. It's hard for a boy to not attract attention when riding a small electric car with Pikachu stickers. Yixian rode a small electric bike and rushed to complete the enrollment procedures. Walking to the door of an office, Yixian knocked on the door. Come in. A female voice came from the office. Yixian walked into the office and saw a woman in her 20s, wearing a professional suit, which made her perfect S-curve even more eye-catching. She was extremely tall, wearing a pair of high heels and a pair of glasses. Her pretty face pretended to be stern, but she also revealed a charming look. The contrast between her hot body and serious expression made people imagine. She was the university counselor and Bai Qing. Seeing this woman, Yixian was surprised. She is a natural beauty. There is a kind of woman in the world who has a fatal temptation to men, such as Yarn Guifei and Zhao Feiyan in history. This kind of woman can make men crazy and willing to do anything for them. Yixian never thought that his college counselor was actually a natural beauty. Although Bai Qing dressed conservatively, it was not difficult to imagine how many men in this university would be fascinated by her. Hello, teacher An. My name is Yixian. I'm a new student in your class. Yixian came back to his senses and greeted her in a cold manner. It was not that he didn't like beautiful women, but there were too many lessons in history. Bai Qing looked at Yixian with a calm face and was a little surprised. Since she was in elementary school, she had never seen a man who could be so calm when seeing her. This made her have a good impression of Yixian. I'll take you to complete the admission procedures, and take you to the classroom to meet your classmates. The sound of high heels clicking rang out, and Bai Qing walked in front with a pair of long legs wrapped in black silk and twisted her willow waist like a water snake. I don't know how many eyes she attracted along the way. You just came to register now, so your grades must not be very good. You must have found a lot of connections to be able to go to college here, right? Yes, teacher An. Yixian smiled, my grades are not good, please take care of me in the future. Come on, if you don't understand something in the future, you can come to my office tilde. Bai Qing smiled at Yixian, her watery eyes were filled with blue waves, almost hooking Yixian's soul away. Fortunately, Yixian is not an ordinary person, so he calmed down. If other people saw that Bai Qing actually smiled, I'm afraid that all the men in the school would be jealous of Yixian. Bai Qing is a famous cold goddess in Yunhai University. From male teachers to male students, they have secretly regarded her as the object of their secret love at night. No matter who she faces, Bai Qing always has an attitude of rejecting people from 1,000 miles away. Although there are many people chasing her, they have all been rejected without exception. The class she served as a counselor was also very famous in the whole school. In addition to her, the most beautiful teacher, there was also a domineering rich girl and a beautiful and pure school flower. The two walked and talked, and soon came to the classroom. It was during the break, and the classroom was noisy. With the appearance of Bai Qing, the classroom immediately became quiet, and the boys' eyes were all focused on her, as if Baiqing had long been accustomed to other people's gazes, she calmly introduced, "This is our new classmate, his name is Yixian, everyone welcome." There was a sparse applause in the classroom, and suddenly someone recognized Yixian and exclaimed, "Isn't this the brother riding Pikachu? He is actually a new student in our class." Brother riding Pikachu? What the hell? And Baiqing blinked in confusion. Before she could ask what was going on, an excited voice rang out from the last row of the classroom. "Boss! You're really here. I'll follow you from now on." Everyone turned their heads and saw a beautiful girl standing up, her pretty face full of excitement, walking towards Yixian. The girl had long hair and light makeup, very beautiful, impressive at first glance, wearing a short skirt, slender and straight legs, which made people breathless. Lin Wanner walked over with a pair of tall legs, not caring about the eyes of others, and greeted Yixian. Seeing this, all the boys in the class cast murderous eyes at Yixian. A new freshman was actually chatting with Lin Wanner. Moreover, Lin Wanner actually called this kid the boss. In their eyes, the rich, an arrogant campus goddess would actually recognize a kid riding a small electric donkey as the boss. Why? And Baiqing was also confused. Lin Wanner was the daughter of a wealthy family. She was arrogant and disdainful to everyone. She was a big sister who walked sideways in school. How could she call Yixian the boss? "Teacher, I have something else to ask you." Yixian bit his lip and said sincerely with some difficulty, "I just came to school and missed too many lessons. Can I ask the study committee member to help me make up for it?" Looking at Yixian's eager expression, and Baiqing was stunned for a moment, and then felt sincerely relieved she was right. Yixian was indeed a diligent and studious student. Nowadays, it is normal for college students to skip classes and fall in love. There are too few students who study hard like Yixian. And Baiqing nodded and looked at the girl in a long skirt who was reading a book seriously. Sukasan, as a study committee member, helped new students more. Yixian followed in Baiqing's gaze, and the next moment, his mind went blank. It's really beautiful. Chapter 8 Really, beautiful. Really, beautiful. As one of the campus beauties of Yunhai University, Sukasan is naturally very beautiful, especially when compared with the girls in the same class. She is even more eye-catching at first glance. Sukasan wore a light-colored long skirt, her long hair reached her waist, and her pure oval face was delicate and soft. Her clear eyes quickly swept over Yixian and moved to the side. Yixian took a deep breath, sat down next to Sukasan without thinking, and smiled slightly. "Hello Sukasan, I am Yixian, please take care of me in the future." Sure enough, he did not lie to him. The person to be protected this time was indeed a pure and beautiful college student. Sukasan frowned slightly. Why did she feel that all this seemed to have been rehearsed in advance? Just then, Lin Wanner patted the female classmate sitting next to Yixian and smiled, "Classmate, please change seats." The girl did not dare to provoke Lin Wanner, and hurriedly picked up her book and hurriedly moved to another seat. "Boss, student counselor, we three will sit at the same table from now on," Lin Wanner said to Yixian and Sukasan with a grin. Sukasan frowned when she smelled the pungent perfume, and continued to read as if she didn't hear anything. Lin Wanner pushed Yixian with her elbow and whispered, "Boss, student counselor seems to be afraid of you." Yixian glanced at her and said disdainfully, "She's not afraid of me, she's afraid of you." "Impossible. I'm a very kind person." Lin Wanner turned around and waved to several female students in the back row with a slight smile. Several female students were stunned for a moment, and then squeezed out a stiff smile at the same time. "See, I said I'm popular." Seeing Yixian being sandwiched between two beauties, other male students were envious. There are thousands of men in the world, but why is Yixian the winner in life? Soon, the class started. Sukasan just crossed her legs, but she felt it was not elegant, so she had to put her legs down and close them together, sitting upright on the chair. Pop! A pen fell under the desk. Lin Wanner whispered, "Boss, help me pick up the pen, my pen is under you." Yixian leaned down and got under the desk to pick up the pen, but in this way, not only did the pair of white and round legs perfectly appear in front of Yixian, he could even see under the skirt. Unconsciously swallowing his saliva, Yixian suddenly asked, "Student Sukasan, is this year your zodiac year?" "No." Sukasan was stunned, not understanding why Yixian asked such a question. "If it's not your zodiac year, then why are you wearing red?" Hearing this, Sukasan's pretty face turned red, and she quickly closed her legs, thinking Yi Xian was a bad student, and ignored him for the whole class. Yi Xian was very depressed, he really didn't mean it. After school at noon. Outside the gate of Yunhai University is a bustling commercial street, which is bustling with people. After a morning of classes, Sukasan was already hungry, so she took her female classmate to the commercial street to buy snacks. Yi Xian rode a small electric donkey and chased after him, smiling slightly. "Student counselor, do you need me to take you a ride?" Sukasan didn't want to pay attention to him and quickened her pace. "Kasan, did that boy take advantage of you in class?" The 200-pound female classmate next to her laughed. "That's not the case, but he speaks too much," Sukasan said with a red face. The female classmate snorted coldly, rolled up her sleeves and said fiercely, "He's a good guy with flowery words. If he dares to bully you, I'll punch him out." The two chatted while walking into an alley. Suddenly, a few people in fancy clothes came over and blocked their way. Sukasan and the others were shocked. "What do you want to do?" the female classmate asked. "Hey, this little beauty," the yellow-haired young man who led the group showed an evil smile. "Let me kiss you, how about I buy you milk tea?" "I don't want it," the female classmate said in fear. "Who talked to you? Where did the tiger tank come from?" The yellow-haired young man glanced at her with disgust and cursed with disdain. "Get out of here." The female classmate was so scared that she ran to school in a hurry. At this time, Yi Xian happened to pass by on a small electric donkey. Seeing this, he grabbed the female classmate and asked in confusion, "Classmate, what's wrong with you? Something happened?" A few gangsters left cushion behind. The female classmate looked back and shivered with fear. She said in panic, "These are people from the Dragon and Tiger group. The leader's nickname is Brother Tiger. He has many people under him. They often bully female college students near the school. Dragon and Tiger group." Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. This was the second time he heard this name. These hooligans are bullying female students near the university, and no one is doing anything about it. The female classmate looked at Yi Xian with a silly expression on her face. "The Dragon and Tiger group is very powerful in Yunhai City. Our school can't afford to offend it." Before, a security guard was hit and killed by a dump truck the next day. No one dares to do anything about it anymore. After their voice fell, the female classmate ran away in a panic. Yi Xian rushed to the alley and saw Sukasan surrounded by several hooligans. Just when Yi Xian thought Sukasan must be scared, Sukasan's firm voice came from the front. "It is illegal for you to provoke trouble like this. If you don't leave, I will call the police." Hearing this, Yi Xian realized that this seemingly fragile and pure school beauty was so tough in the face of the hooligans' teasing. Yi Xian became interested and sat on the electric donkey to see how things would develop. "Har har, you are quite strong-willed, little beauty. In this case, I won't make it difficult for you. How about you take out 500 yuan and treat us to a drink?" The yellow-haired young man nicknamed Brother Tiger said with a smile. "You are blackmailing me. I won't give you a penny." Sukasan grabbed the hem of her skirt tightly, her palms full of sweat. Although she was very nervous, she did not compromise at all. "You don't know how to appreciate me," Brother Tiger said impatiently. "You don't give me face, and you don't give me money. You don't give me face, right? In this case, I want both money and sex." Several gangsters surrounded her step by step with evil smiles. "This beauty has long and thin legs, delicate skin and tender flesh. I really want to pinch her. Take her back and have a good time tonight. I don't know what she looks like in bed. Will there be any contrast? Har har har." Just at the critical moment, a small electric scooter with Pikachu attached to it came rushing over. "Let go of that girl." Chapter 9. I'm waiting for you to kill me. "Who are you?" Brother Hu looked at Yi Xian with disdain. "This kid rides a broken battery car and thinks he is Lu Bu?" "Brother Hu, it seems to be a student of Yunhai University," said a gangster. "Yo, who do I think he is? Isn't it just a broken student? Do you want to learn to be a hero and save the beauty?" Brother Hu said disdainfully. Yi Xian said indifferently, "I'll say it again, let go of that girl and get out." "Fuck, you really want to stand out?" Brother Hu looked at Yi Xian. "Don't be so ungrateful. I've been to prison. Get out of here if you know what's good for you." Yi Xian not only didn't leave, but stopped the electric donkey and picked up a brick from the ground. "Are you here to make fun of me? Even if I touch this girl's butt, what can you do to me?" A gangster said with a chuckle, and suddenly reached out and touched Sukasin's skirt directly. R. A scream suddenly sounded, and everyone felt a flash before their eyes. The thug who had just reached out to touch Sukasin had already flown 5 or 6 meters backwards, hit the wall of the alley, and never got up again. Everyone was stunned. Because they didn't see clearly what was going on. Damn it, kill him. Brother Hu saw it clearly. Just when the thug's hand was about to touch Sukasin's skirt, Yi Xian suddenly moved. He kicked the thug in the chest, and the thug flew out screaming on the spot. 5 or 6 thugs picked up bricks and sticks from the ground, and some pulled out daggers from their bodies, rushing towards Yi Xian with ferocious looks. Sukasin was so frightened when she saw this scene, but she mustered up her courage and rushed to stand in front of Yi Xian, shouting, "Yi Xian, run!" Sukasin shouted to Brother Tiger and the others, "It's none of his business. If you have the guts, come at me." Looking at Sukasin's soft and weak back, Yi Xian's eyes flashed with surprise and admiration, and he grabbed Sukasin's arm and pulled her behind him instantly. "You go first, leave this to me." Sukasin's heart trembled, looking at Yi Xian's thin back. She was so moved that her eyes were red, and she ran desperately out of the alley. The next moment, fierce shouts and killings rang out in the alley. Sukasin was so nervous. Yi Xian was so thin and he couldn't fight at first glance. How could he be a match for that group of hooligans? By the time she brought reinforcements, I'm afraid that classmate Yi Xian would not be able to hold on, and he would die. Sukasin gathered her courage and said to herself, "Classmate Yi Xian came to save me. I can't leave him alone. No, I have to go back." Sukasin gritted her teeth, grabbed an iron rod on the ground, and rushed back with courage. What came into view was a pool of blood. A man was lying in a pool of blood, twitching in pain. Yi. Before Sukasin could shout out, she was surprised to find that the person lying in the pool of blood was not Yi Xian, but Brother Hu. Yi Xian held a brick in his hand and stepped on Brother Hu's head with a cold face. Brother Hu lay on the ground. "Where did you come from?" Yi Xian sneered and dragged Brother Hu up from the ground. "I'll teach you a lesson today. Don't set your sights on my woman." He punched Brother Hu in the stomach. Brother Hu's eyeballs bulged, his mouth opened wide, and he gasped in pain. "My woman? Are you talking about me? Classmate Yi Xian. He is so domineering." Sukasin felt her heart pounding and her pretty face quickly turned red. Looking at Yi Xian's back, her mind went blank and she felt a feeling she had never felt before. Although he is a bit of a jerk, he has a strong sense of justice and is very brave. He is so handsome. Sukasin spat at herself in shame when she realized the sudden thought in her mind. She took a deep breath and stopped thinking about it. "Boy, I am from the Dragon and Tiger group. My eldest brother is Li Meng. Aren't you afraid of revenge?" Brother Hu said tremblingly while holding his stomach. "Revenge? Par." Yi Xian slapped Brother Fei Hu in the face. "Revenge, right. Par." Another slap directly slapped the latter's 2 front teeth away. "My name is Yishuaibi, I am waiting for you to kill me. Parper. Yi Xian shook the blood off his hands, spat on Brother Hu who was half dead on the ground, and then turned and left. After a while, "Yi Xian, we are not doing this, right? I'm sorry, Cushion, it's all my fault that I'm too weak, so I sprained my foot. You can only take the trouble to ride the electric bike to carry me." Yi Xian sat in the back seat of the car, his hands gently hugging Sukushin's small waist. The gentle breeze blew on his face, and the air was full of the breath of youth, fresh and refreshing. He sniffed hard and smelled the scent of Sukushin's long hair, which smelled very good. Sukushin's riding skills were very average, and the road was bumpy, so she almost threw Yi Xian off. Fortunately, Yi Xian hugged her small waist tightly with both hands, pressing the two together. "I have to say that Sukushin's waist is really thin, and it feels good. Classmate Yi Xian, you helped me, how can I repay you?" Sukushin hesitated for a long time, and finally asked hesitantly. "I feel so hot now," Yi Xian said. "Then I'll treat you to a popsicle to cool down." 2. "Okay, deal." After a while, Sukushin drove him to the school snack street and stopped in front of a small northeast barbecue. This small northeast barbecue is delicious, only a few dozen yuan per person. The boss and son is very nice, I used to work here, Sukushin introduced. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. It was rare for a school beauty to work diligently in a barbecue restaurant instead of relying on her beauty to make money. Aunt Sun, I want 3 old popsicles. Sukasin stopped the car and shouted into the store. A middle-aged woman with a big perm raised her head and smiled. Kasin, do you have a boyfriend? Sukasin shook her head quickly and said with a red face, he is a new classmate in my class. The middle-aged woman handed 3 popsicles to Sukasin, who kept one and gave the other 2 to Yishen. The 2 of them ate popsicles on the street. Yishen turned his head to look at Sukasin, and saw her stretching out her delicate little pink tongue, licking the old popsicle gently, with a look of enjoyment on her face. Gudong. Some strange images popped up in Yishen's mind unconsciously. Do you like to lick it? Yishen smiled slightly. Yes, I also like to bite it with big bites. Sukasin smiled slightly, revealing 2 cute little tiger teeth, biting the popsicle in one bite, and biting off half of it directly. For some reason, Yishen felt a chill down there. Yishen took 2 popsicles, one in each hand, and took turns eating them. I just like the feeling of eating 2 at a time. Boss, student counselor. You 2 are cheating on me. At this time, Lin Wanna came out from behind and came up to him excitedly. Don't slander someone's innocence in broad daylight. Yishen felt a little guilty. Sukasin was stunned for a moment and couldn't keep up with the speed of the car. Give me a bite of the popsicle. Quick. Lin Wanna licked her lips, a little impatient. I've bitten the top. Yishen pouted. It doesn't matter, I'll just bite the bottom. Lin Wanna grabbed a popsicle, looking smug. Hee, this one is big, I want to bite this one. It feels so good to take a bite, boss, are you happy? Chapter 10 The school beauty licked my wound, what's wrong? The scene of Yishen and Sukasin eating popsicles in the school snack street was seen by many passing students. The 2 of them were so intimate that these male students were about to collapse in their hearts. Envy. Jealousy. Hate. This country bumpkin actually hooked up with the pure school beauty. Sukasin rode a small electric scooter, Yishen sat on the back seat, and put his arms around Sukasin's slender waist. The boys passing by were stunned. Countless eyes were focused on Yishen, with envy, shock, and jealousy. On the side of the road, Sun Jie watched the small electric scooter rushing by, his eyes widened, his mouth opened wide. Sun Jie rubbed his eyes in disbelief, exclaiming in his heart, damn. Isn't this the boy from the bar? When did he hook up with the school beauty? What made him even more unacceptable was that Sukasin actually rode an electric scooter with Yishen on it, and allowed Yishen to hug her. He had previously given Sukasin 999 roses and confessed his love in public, but Sukasin directly refused. He couldn't catch up with Lin Wanner, but Yishen did, and fucking slept with her. He couldn't catch up with Sukasin, but Yishen did. He even hugged her waist. Damn, I really gave you face, didn't I? Sun Jie hurriedly chased after him with a few followers. Sukasin sent Yishen to the infirmary and whispered, Student Yishen, does your foot still hurt? Yishen got out of the car, rubbed his ankle, and said, it's all broken, it hurts a lot. Hold on, I'll go buy some band-aids. Sukasin was about to go in when she found that the infirmary was closed. I know a way, but I don't know if student Kasin is willing. Yishen said embarrassedly. Tell me quickly. Sukasin said nervously. Yishen looked at Sukasin's white legs exposed by her short skirt, licked his lips, and smiled. If you feel bad, you can use your red lips to help me lick the wound. Saliva can disinfect it and it will definitely heal faster. Sukasin was stunned, then blushed and said, it's already this time, you still have the nerve to joke, then help me see if there is anyone around. Sukasin bent over and slowly squatted in front of Yishen. Little bastard, I'll fucking kill you. A roar suddenly sounded behind him, and Sun Jie rushed over with a face full of anger, his eyes almost cracked, and a ferocious face. Kasin, this kid is lying to you. He is not injured at all. He took advantage of your kindness and took advantage of you. You've been fooled. On their way here, he asked Sukasin's classmates and learned that Yishen was a transfer student and sat with Sukasin in class. Sun Jie was even more upset now, and hurried to the infirmary to make trouble for Yishen. But he saw the school beauty was about to help this boy lick his wounds. Yishen secretly said, idiot. I should have killed this bastard in the bar last time. I didn't expect that this bastard was also a student of Yunhai University. Hearing this, Sukasin was stunned, her pretty face immediately flushed, and she looked at Yishen. Yishen, are you injured? In fact, in her heart, she had long regarded Yishen as a good man, an upright and brave boy. How could he take advantage of her? Isn't this senior Sun Jie? Something big is going to happen. Sun Jie's family is still rich, and he is also the president of the school's martial arts club. Someone offended him before, and his hands and feet were broken and thrown at the school gate. This kid is dead. I bet he won't survive today. Everyone looked at Yi Xian, shook their heads, and looked at him as if they were looking at a dead person. Sun Jie put his hands in his pockets and said provocatively, "Who the hell do you think you are? You ride a small electric donkey and try to pick up girls. You even pretended to be injured and tricked the school beauty into giving you a massage, right? Such a cliché way of picking up girls, are you unsophisticated? Let me see how you explain this." Yi Xian sneered in his heart, but on the surface he looked indignant and said loudly, "You are talking nonsense. You mean that Xuan is stupid and naive, so she was deceived by me, right? You can slander me, but you are not allowed to mock Xuan. You must apologize to Xuan." Seeing Yi Xian's indignant look, Xuan became more and more determined in her heart. Her judgment was correct. Yi Xian was a good person. Sun Jie saw that Yi Xian deliberately misinterpreted his meaning, and immediately became anxious, and angrily said, "Yi Xian, stop pretending to be stupid here. Your tricks may fool Xuan, but not me. Why are you pretending? Stop it." Xuan's pretty face was slightly cold, and she snorted, "Senior Sun Jie, I'm telling you now. Xuan, I'm not a naive person, and Yi Xian is not a bad person. You should apologize to him." Seeing Xuan take the initiative to speak for Yi Xian, the boys watching were envious, thinking that this boy was too lucky. Sun Jie's face gradually darkened. "Xuan, you can't trust him, he is not a good person. Last night in the bar, he and Lin Wanner." Yi Xian sneered. "Last night in the bar, a rich young man bullied Lin Wanner and forced her to be his girlfriend. I couldn't stand it, so I stepped forward and helped Lin Wanner." Then, Yi Xian changed the subject. "The rich young man who hugged the beauty and bullied people, I can't remember his name. Sun Jie, help me think of it." Sun Jie couldn't hold back for a long time, his heart was boiling with anger, and his whole body was trembling. "This guy. So despicable. I should have killed you in the bar earlier." Xuan seemed to understand something when she heard what Yi Xian said, and said coldly, "Senior Sun Jie, I didn't expect you to be such a person. Even an upright classmate like Yi Xian spread rumors and slandered him. You are too much. I really misjudged you. Please don't harass me in the future." After that, Xuan rode on the small battery and let Yi Xian sit on it, and then said, "Yi Xian, I will take you to the clinic outside to buy medicine. Let's go, don't pay attention to this kind of people." Hearing this, Sun Jie got even more excited. He pursued Xuan for more than a month, sending flowers and buying gifts, but Xuan was particularly cold to him and didn't even let him hold her hand. And Yi Xian? In just half a day, he hugged the school beauty's slim waist. Jealousy made him jealous, and the flames of anger made him lose his mind. Fuck. He couldn't swallow this breath. "Yi Xian, let me say a few words to you." Sun Jie walked forward with a cold face, his eyes seemed to want to eat Yi Xian alive. "What?" Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. "Boy, do you know how to write the word death? If you dare to come to the woods behind the school tonight, I will break your hands and feet and feed you to the dogs. If you dare not come, I will fuck you every time I see you next time. Damn, a bumpkin dares to go against me. Don't know how to live or die." Sun Jie cursed with arrogance. Yi Xian was not afraid, but laughed while holding his stomach. Laughed so hard that tears came out. Damn. A useless rich second generation actually wanted to bully him in school. Originally, he just wanted to protect Xuan as an ordinary student in a low-key manner, because he knew that the danger mentioned by the military was definitely not the Dragon and Tiger group, so the lower the profile, the less likely it would attract attention. But these cats and dogs came to seek death on their own initiative, so don't blame him for being cruel. Yi Xian nodded, "Okay. I'll wait for you to kill me." Chapter 11. I bet he won't survive tonight. Yi Xian, what did he say to you just now? Did he threaten you? Xuan noticed that something was wrong and asked hurriedly. Yi Xian smiled and shrugged, "Nothing, he invited me to take a walk in the woods at night." "You are not allowed to go. He is the president of the school's martial arts club. He has practiced kung fu. He will bully you." Xuan warned hurriedly. "Don't worry, I know what to do." While riding the small battery, Xuan recalled the whole incident and felt uneasy. She said with self-blame, "I'm sorry, it's all my fault that I got you into trouble. Otherwise, Sun Jie wouldn't have bothered you. Yixian said, "You can't say that. I won't let him bully you. No matter how he wants to retaliate against me, as long as you are fine." In the sun, Yixian smiled brightly. "As long as I can protect you, I can do anything, even if I am the enemy of the whole world. As long as I can protect you, I can do anything, even if I am the enemy of the whole world." Sukasun repeated it silently in her heart. Her heart trembled. Classmate Yixian, although he has poor grades and loves to talk nonsense, he is really honest and brave. Will he like me? Oh, what am I thinking about? Sukasun blushed and took a deep breath, trying to concentrate on writing, but the strange thoughts in her mind lingered. In the evening, the students who were studying packed up their things and walked out of the library. "Yixian, let's go." Sukasun put down her book and greeted him. "You go eat first, I'll go to the logistics department to apply for a meal card." Yixian smiled. "Okay." Sukasun nodded and left the library. After Sukasun left the library, Yixian did not go to apply for a meal card, but rode a small battery car to the grove. As soon as he stopped the small battery car, several people came to greet him. Looking at this extremely cool electric scooter, the faces of several boys gradually darkened. "It must be this bastard. You are Yixian, right? Come with us," the leader said maliciously. Yixian sneered and followed these people to the woods. At this time, many people had gathered behind the woods. In the afternoon, the school had been madly spread that someone had offended Sun Jie, and Sun Jie wanted to kill him. The last person who offended Sun Jie had his hands and feet broken and was thrown at the school gate. Who will be the unlucky guy this time? Boom! A red sports car stopped by the roadside. Liu Fei trotted forward and opened the door like a bootleg. Sun Jie got out of the car with a cold face. With a height of 1.8 meters, handsome cheeks, and a chic hairstyle, he caused a burst of exclamations as soon as he appeared. "Young Master Sun is here." With an exclamation, everyone showed excitement. "Liu Fei, is that kid here?" Sun Jie raised his proud head and spoke coldly. "Don't worry, young Master Sun. I caught the kid named Yi. The brothers of the martial arts club are watching him. He can't get away tonight." Liu Fei patted his chest and said, "Well done." Sun Jie patted Liu Fei on the shoulder. "Just wait for young Master Sun's order, and the brothers will destroy him. Beat him until his hands and feet are broken, and throw him to the gate to make him lose face." Liu Fei snorted coldly. Sun Jie nodded, "Of course. Who is that kid? How dare he touch the woman I like? Kill him." Dozens of followers shouted in unison. "Don't worry, tonight I will let him know what it means to live a life worse than death." Sun Jie's eyes flashed with coldness. It was getting dark, the street lights in the woods were dim, and people could hardly be seen. There were often couples who couldn't hold back and came here to exchange their feelings. Behind the stands is a large abandoned forest, which is next to the wall. Usually, no one comes here. That's why Sun Jie made an appointment here. Just to give Yixian a good beating. Let him know. This school. Who is the boss? At that time, in the school cafeteria, Sukasun was eating while browsing the school forum. Today, the school forum has a lot of views, and it is as lively as the new year. The first hot post, someone outside the school said that he would spend 100,000 yuan to buy all the information of a boy named Yishuaibi. And he said it viciously. Let this Yishuaibi die without a burial place. The replies below are varied, and they are all guessing whether this classmate dug up other people's ancestors' graves, and even attracted others to chase him to the school forum. And more people are asking, who is Yishuaibi? The second hot post, someone saw a pure school beauty riding a small electric donkey with a boy. This news exploded in the forum, causing a great sensation. There are all kinds of posts below, and the one with the most replies is a pure school beauty in front and a mysterious man in the back, up and down. Sukasun's pretty face immediately blushed with shame, and she quickly closed the post, thinking that these rumor mongers were really bad. At this time, a new post popped up. Huh. Sukasun was stunned for a moment and quickly clicked on the post. Although the picture in the post was blurry, it was still recognizable. Surrounded by dozens of black shadows, a boy stood coldly and proudly, with his waist straight. It was quite impressive. The comments below were, "This boy is so handsome, but unfortunately he is dead. People riding electric bikes and driving supercars are not from the same world, idiot. I bet he won't survive tonight. Until I saw the last reply. I know this boy, he is a new transfer student in our class, his name is Yishen. Click. Sukasin's heart trembled. My mind went blank. The boy's gentle voice echoed in my mind. As long as I can protect you, I can do anything, even if I am against the whole world. Pop. Putting down the bowl and chopsticks, she turned and ran to the cafeteria door. Tears. Burst out. Chapter 12. Young Master's son is holding back. The grove behind the playground stands. Sun Jie put his hands in his pockets, his eyes were cold, and he didn't even turn his head. You're here. Yishen, I'm here. Sun Jie, you shouldn't have come. Yishen, didn't you ask me to come? Are you going to fight or not? If not, I'll leave. Sun Jie. Damn, you still dare to act cool in front of me. Wait and see if you can still laugh. Boy, you're really brave. You dare to come. Sun Jie turned around, sneered at Yishen, and said cruelly, I'll give you two choices now. Either get out of this university and never see Sukasin again in this life. Or be crippled by me and sit in a wheelchair in the next life. What do you want to choose? Sun Jie stared at Yishen fiercely and clenched his fist. Dozens of martial arts club members around him also cast threatening glances at Yishen. The crowd watching secretly in the distance showed pity. Today's scene can be summed up in 2 words. Death is inevitable. This kid, young Master's son, has it in his hands. Even the principal can't save him. Yishen showed a hint of sneer. Not only was he not afraid, but his face was full of disdain. My answer is very simple, only brats do multiple choice questions. I want to pick up the school beauty and beat you up. Yo. Quite courageous. This is not taking young Master's son seriously. This kid is dead. Fuck. You're looking for death. Sun Jie cursed angrily. He punched Yishen in the face. As the president of the school's martial arts club, Sun Jie's strength is no joke. Last time, he was in the bar because he drank too much and didn't perform well. Usually, he can easily deal with 5 or 6 adults by himself. Sun Jie is full of confidence in his fists. However. Wow. A punch missed. Huh. Sun Jie was startled. Yishen flashed aside at some point and looked at him with a sarcastic look on his face. Laugh at your mother. Sun Jie gritted his teeth and raised his fist to hit again. At this moment, in Yishen's vision, Sun Jie's fist swinging action was like a slow motion in a movie. Slow. Too slow. At the same time, Yishen moved. He pinched the steel needle with 2 fingers, and in an instant, he stabbed it more than 10 times in a row. Each needle stabbed into the key acupuncture points of Sun Jie's stomach. This series of actions seemed complicated, but it actually only happened in an instant. Even Sun Jie couldn't see his movements clearly, he just felt something flashing in front of him. Until Yishen finished, Sun Jie's second punch came late. As expected, this punch missed again. R. Sun Jie suddenly screamed, and a needle-like tingling pain came from his body. Suddenly, there was a cramp in the stomach. Oh! Sun Jie covered his stomach, his face changed drastically. My stomach hurts. Damn it. This strong feeling. It's Xiangyi. Sun Jie's face flushed, he clamped his legs together, not daring to move. He had an ominous premonition that as long as the gate was opened, a waterfall would immediately fall down 3,000 feet. At this moment, everyone held their breath and looked at Sun Jie nervously. Why didn't young Master's son move? Someone asked in a low voice. Can't you see? Liu Fei said coldly and arrogantly, young Master's son is holding back his big move. Look. Young Master's son's face turned red. Everyone in the martial arts club suddenly realized. Yishen, you're dead. What will you do when young Master's son uses his big move? HMPH, can you block it? I can't hold it anymore. Sun Jie's face flushed, and he couldn't hold it anymore. Young Master's son, if you can't hold it back, let it out. Let it out quickly. Liu Fei looked excited and expectant. I let your mother. Sun Jie finally reached his limit. It's over. I can't hold it anymore. Bang bang puff bang bang puff. Like the endless flow of the Yellow River, and like a flood that bursts forth, with loud noises, Sun Jie's pants were soaked, and a yellow semi-liquid gushed out from his trouser legs. Damn it. Sun Jie flew on the spot. Everyone was dumbfounded at this moment. I was thinking 1,000 fucks. The entire scene, nearly 100 people fell into deathly silence at the same time. All the onlookers cast their eyes in shock. Liu Fei and the others were dumbfounded. It's over. Young Master Sun flew. And in front of so many people. This is big news. Sun Jie stood there in a daze, his mind blank. He could feel his trouser legs were as heavy as if they were filled with lead, and they were a little hot. Why do you have no sense of public morality? Yishen pretended to be surprised and shouted, why are you urinating and defecating anywhere on campus? Sun Jie's forehead buzzed. This sentence was like a thunderbolt hitting his head. It seemed that his whole soul was empty in an instant. Did you poop? I pooped in public. Sun Jie's face was pale. He turned his head and looked at the hundreds of classmates who were watching. When had these students seen such a big scene? They were so scared that they quickly retreated several meters. Each expression was wonderful. Some were disgusted, some were shocked, some were mocking, and some couldn't help laughing like pigs. Fuck. Sun Jie sprayed shit, har har har. He was beaten to shit. Young Master Sun's ultimate move, transform into a jet fighter. Young Master Sun is awesome, using biological weapons when he disagrees with someone. Biological weapons. Har har har, do you want to make me laugh to death? Sun Jie listened to the voices of the people around him, he wanted to die. He really wanted to die. Woo woo. What's the point of living like this? Yishen, I'm going to fight you. Sun Jie looked at Yishen's smirk, and suddenly felt sad in his heart. He gritted his teeth and rushed over to fight Yishen. I'm going to kill you today. Teacher. Yishen covered his chest. Sun Jie, he beat me. Yishen protested with grievance, too much, too much. Sun Jie was stunned. What's going on? I didn't even touch you. Yishen. Are you okay? Sukasin ran over in a panic and supported Yishen. Seeing his appearance, she couldn't help but yelled at Sun Jie, you are so hateful. How can you hit people? And Bai Qing gritted her teeth, her pretty face was cold. Sun Jie, this is a school, you are too much. Other male teachers echoed. It's a heinous crime. This matter must be reported to the teaching department. Handle it strictly. Sun Jie's face changed, teacher and I. Puff puff puff. Before he could explain, there was another burst of free flying. It was even more violent than the last time. Sun Jie turned around and ran towards the bathroom with a face full of grief and anger. He limped and stumbled. He even lost a shoe. Seeing this, Liu Fei hurriedly shouted behind him. Young Master Sun. Slow down. Your shenzi fell off. No. It's your shoe that fell off. Chapter 13 Yishen, he cheated on me. At night. Sun Jie ran to the hospital for a full body checkup, and then found a doctor. The doctor took the checkup report and shook his head and said, you are very healthy, but you have some problems with your stomach and intestines. Just pay attention to recuperation in the future. That's it. Sun Jie looked suspicious and frowned. Is there no other injury on my body? No. The doctor said helplessly. Impossible. Sun Jie snorted coldly, his face full of anger, and said, I remember it clearly. That stinky boy, he stabbed me. He stabbed me so painfully. I had a stomachache first, then a stomachache, and then incontinence. Sun Jie roared angrily. Yishen stabbed me. No mistake. He stabbed me. The voice fell. The hospital was dead silent. The medical staff who came and went stopped and cast pitying glances at Sun Jie. TSK. Another stomachache, and incontinence. I have worked in the hospital for so many years and have seen many perverts, but this brother is the real standout in terms of shock. The doctor said with embarrassment, he cheated on you, he is a scumbag, I sympathize with you. But this is a mental illness, which cannot be detected by machines. Classmate, you must protect yourself in the future, remember. The doctor gave a caring smile. Sun Jie was confused. What is the doctor talking about? Why can't he understand? Also, why are these medical staff looking at him with pity? What are these people doing? Walking out of the hospital, a middle-aged man hurried forward with a respectful smile on his face. Young Master Sun, I am really sorry to scare you. I will investigate this matter thoroughly. The middle-aged man was none other than Zhao Peng, the director of the school's teaching department. Zhao Peng was able to enter the school because of the relationship with the Sun family, so he tried to please Sun Jie. Sun Jie did a lot of bad things in school, and he helped to suppress them. Zhao Peng was extremely nervous when he heard that Sun Jie had an accident at school, and he hurried over to see the situation. Sun Jie glared at Zhao Peng and said viciously, "I don't care what method you use, I will make that transfer student named Yi Xian pay the price." Thinking of the scene where he was laughed at by his classmates on the playground, Sun Jie was furious. He, a tall, rich and handsome man born with a silver spoon in his mouth, was actually incontinent in public. What a shame! He would not be willing to do it unless he killed Yi Xian. "Don't worry, I'll take care of this matter." Zhao Peng nodded with a gloomy face. "Oh, by the way, you should also deal with that counselor named Baiqing," Sun Jie added. Baiqing. Zhao Peng's eyes lit up, and a graceful and charming figure appeared in his mind. A sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. "I have wanted to deal with this slutty woman for a long time, but I didn't expect that she would offend young Master Sunday Humph. This time she will definitely not escape from my palm." Sun Jie narrowed his eyes. It seems that Director Zhao has already had an idea. Zhao Peng whispered a few words in Sun Jie's ear, and the two looked at each other, revealing a conspiracy sneer at the same time. At that time, after Yi Xian returned home, he lay on the bed, browsed the school forum with his mobile phone, and registered an account by the way. In the nickname column, Yi Xian thought about it and used the name Honest, which was more in line with his personal temperament. When he entered the forum, as expected, the school forum exploded completely. The entire forum homepage was full of posts about the playground battle. Someone even took a photo of Sun Jie flying in a panic. The entire school forum was in harmony. Yi Xian flipped through a few pages and saw a post. His eyes suddenly lit up. Someone posted a post, willing to pay 100,000 yuan to buy all the information of a boy named Yi Shuaibi. However, after so long, no one in the entire forum knew Yi Shuaibi. Many people speculated that this Yi Shuaibi was fake and did not exist at all. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and sent a private message to the poster. "I know this Yi Shuaibi." Ding dong. After a while, Brother Hu came online and quickly replied, "Give me all his information." Yi Xian thought about it and typed a line of words. "Okay, but you have to pay more." On the other side, Buckingham Club. Li Meng, vice president of Dragon Tiger Group, pushed away the two Russian beauties beside him, stared at the phone, and frowned. On the side, Brother Tiger, wrapped in gauze, trembled and said, "Boss Li, we must kill that kid. Otherwise, how can our Dragon Tiger Group survive?" Li Meng looked gloomy and sent a voice message. "How much do you want?" 1 million. "Sure. Then transfer the money first." "Boy, you are not playing tricks on me, are you?" Li Meng was obviously a little impatient. "Believe it or not." Li Meng pondered for a moment, thinking that a student would not have the courage to cheat him, so he asked for the bank card number and transferred 1 million. "The money is transferred to you. Send the kid's information, hurry up." After seeing the mobile phone arrival notification, Yi Xian clicked the video invitation. Li Meng connected the video without thinking much, and the next second, Brother Tiger behind him was instantly petrified. "Fuck. It's him. The one who beat me is him." Yi Xian sneered, "Boss, what information do you want to know about me? Typing is too troublesome, just ask me directly." "Who are you?" Li Meng realized that he was fooled, his veins popped out, and his face was full of murderous intent. "My name is Yi Shuaibi. Open your eyes and look, am I not handsome?" "Fuck." Li Meng stood up angrily and threw his phone directly. He was fooled by this kid. He was also cheated of 1 million. Li Meng roared, "Why are you standing there? Go find him. If you can't find this kid, I will destroy Yunhai University together." On the other side, Yi Xian took a shower and was about to go to bed. At this moment, the phone suddenly rang, and a charming woman's voice came from the other end. "Student Yi Xian, are you asleep?" "Teacher An, are you looking for me?" And Baiqing took a deep breath and said in a solemn tone, "Something big has happened, you have caused a big disaster." Chapter 14. Wait for him to collect his body. Early the next morning, Sukasan came to the cafeteria to eat, and happened to see Liu Fei and a few others gathered together, as if discussing something. "Don't worry, young Master Sun won't let him go. The boy surnamed Yi will only be around for a few days at most. He even dared to snatch young Master Sun's woman. He is really tired of living. Sukasin hurriedly walked aside, fearing that she would be seen by Liu Fei and others, and hurriedly carried breakfast back to the classroom. She was very anxious. Sun Jie really planned to take revenge on Yi Xian. Yi Xian was hated by Sun Jie because of her, and she was the one who harmed Yi Xian. Student Counselor, why do you look so unhappy? Lin Wana sat down with her bag, looked at Sukasin, and asked curiously. Sukasin struggled for a few seconds, and finally made up her mind and said, Student Lin, can I ask you for a favor? Lin Wana was stunned. She didn't expect that Sukasin, a good student, would take the initiative to talk to her. Then she smiled and said, Class monitor, if you need any help, just say it. Student Yi Xian is in trouble. Sukasin recounted what happened yesterday. Damn, the boss beat up Sun Jie. Lin Wana was surprised, and then gave a thumbs up. The boss is so fierce. Sun Jie. Sukasin said nervously. This matter is a bit big, I'll do my best. Lin Wana's face was a little solemn. Although the Lin family has some power in the local area, the Sun family is mainly engaged in the entertainment industry. In terms of indescribable aspects, the Sun family is much stronger than the Lin family. Although Sun Jie didn't dare to attack Lin Wan, Yi Xian had no power and no background. Even if Lin Wan came forward, Sun Jie would not care at all. After calling Sun Jie, Lin Wana said solemnly, Young Master Sun, give me some face, I will compensate you 1 million, and forget about Yi Xian's matter. Are you kidding me? He made me embarrassed in public and made me lose face. Do you think my face is worth only 1 million? Sun Jie said viciously. What about the 2 million? Lin Wana asked. Stop talking nonsense. This matter can no longer be solved with money. Let me tell you, this matter is related to the face of the Sun family. My father has promised me that I can freely deploy the family's power for revenge. Just wait to collect Yi Xian's body. Sun Jie hung up the phone angrily. Lin Wana's face gradually turned pale, especially Sun Jie's last sentence, which showed that the seriousness of the matter was far beyond her imagination. The Sun family wants Yi Xian's life. This is a big trouble. Student Lin, is this easy to solve? Sukasin asked cautiously. Solve it. It's a big deal. Where's the old man? Let him pack up and run. Lin Wana swallowed her saliva, grabbed Sukasin's arm, and said in a panic. Upon hearing this, Sukasin suddenly became nervous, knowing that Yi Xian was in danger, and perhaps even in danger of his life. Sukasin hurriedly called Yi Xian, but no one answered. Besides, class time was about to start, and Yi Xian didn't come to the classroom. I'll go find him. Sukasin didn't care about class anymore, and left the classroom in a panic. At that time, Yi Xian stood at the door of the office and knocked on the door. Come in. And Bai Qing turned around and looked at Yi Xian. Teacher An, what do you want to talk to me about? Yi Xian took a glance and saw that An Bai Qing was wearing a white shirt and a black short skirt today. Her slender legs were covered with black stockings and high heels. Her long black hair was tied up with a hairpin, and she wore a pair of black framed glasses on her beautiful face. The key is that with her natural beauty, the black framed glasses on her face set off her unique mature charm. Yi Xian, someone posted your photo on the school forum, saying that you hurt someone outside the school and they want to retaliate against you. Is this true? And Bai Qing stroked her glasses and asked softly. Yi Xian nodded. Teacher An, that gang of thugs extorted protection money from Sukasin, so I was forced to defend myself. Hearing this, and Bai Qing's beautiful eyes flashed with some approval. This student was not only diligent and studious, but also stood up at the critical moment and took the risk to do what was right, which really made her eyes light up. Student Yi Xian, it's a good thing that you are brave and righteous, and you should be praised, but the gangsters you offended have caused you trouble. And Bai Qing said with some mixed feelings, the leader of this gang of gangsters is Li Meng, the person in charge of the Dragon Tiger Group in Shinan District. Li Meng directly threatened you to come to the school to be punished, otherwise he would cause trouble for the school. Just a few gangsters dared to threaten the school. It seems that the power of the Dragon Tiger Group in the local area is far beyond his imagination. These people are so hateful and so bold. Yi Xian was indignant, and then looked at An Bai Qing and asked tentatively, Teacher An, what is the attitude of the school? They are not going to hand me over, right? Seeing Yi Xian's nervous look, An Bai Qing comforted him. The principal knows about this matter, and asked you to study in school with peace of mind and not leave the school. Principal Zheng is going to call the Dragon Tiger group to apologize and see if the matter can be suppressed. And Baiqing was also very curious why Principal Zheng would attach so much importance to a student. Alas, I have caused trouble for the school. Yixian shook his head sadly and said, Teacher An, this matter was caused by me, I can't let everyone get involved. I plan to find Li Meng in person, solve this matter thoroughly, and protect the safety of teachers and students in the school. Where is the headquarters of Longhu Group in Shannan District? I will go to Li Meng now. Yixian said with a face ready to die. And Baiqing was also touched, took a deep breath, and said solemnly, Student Yi, the teacher admires your courage, but you can't go alone on this matter. The teacher will go with you. A few minutes later, Yixian rode the cool little electric donkey, carrying the top-notch beautiful teacher behind him, and rushed out of the school gate in the shocked and envious eyes of male students all the way. At that time, not far from the school, Buckingham Club. In a luxurious box, Li Meng was pouring wine for an old man with a smile on his face. Brother Hu and others stood respectfully aside. Mr. Xu, what do you think about taking me as your disciple? Li Meng asked with a smile. Mr. Xu is the descendant of Bajikan. His ancestor was a martial arts champion. He has a great reputation in the city for his horizontal training skills. Several martial arts masters are his disciples. Mr. Xu was about to speak when the door of the box was suddenly pushed open. A subordinate rushed in and said nervously, Mr. Li, someone is making trouble outside. They want to see you by name. Li Meng frowned and said unhappily, How many people are there? 2, 1 man and 1 woman. 2. What do they look like? The subordinate said quickly, The woman has long legs and black stockings and a great figure. What about the man? The man? I didn't see the man. Chapter 15, Let me show you a little show. Outside the Buckingham Club. Yixian looked at the magnificent entertainment club and narrowed his eyes slightly. This Dragon Tiger group is quite rich. It seems that those hooligans of Brother Tiger are just the lowest level members. While stopping the electric donkey, Yixian said to An Baiqing, Teacher An, this Buckingham Club is a bit dangerous. Why don't I go in first and you stay outside? If I can't get out, you call the police. An Baiqing couldn't see that Yixian was protecting her, and she was moved. But she thought about it and felt that what Yixian said made sense. If she really encountered danger, she could call the police if she stayed outside. If both of them were trapped, they would really be dead. Student Yi, pay attention to safety. If you don't come out in half an hour, I will call the police. And Baiqing said seriously. Teacher An, don't worry. We live in a society ruled by law. If I reason with them, they won't embarrass me. Yixian smiled slightly and turned to walk towards the door of the club. The moment he turned around, Yixian's expression changed, and a trace of cold murderous intent flashed in his eyes. How ridiculous. A mere 18th tier power actually wanted him to come to apologize. It's simply courting death. Student Yi, I'll wait for you to come out. Looking at Yixian's back, An Baiqing couldn't help but shout out. Although Yixian was just a college student, he was very brave and had a sense of justice, which made her admire and feel distressed. At this moment, she felt a surge of pain in her heart, and silently said in her heart, Yixian must come out safely, otherwise, as a teacher, I will never feel at ease in this life. The security guards at the door saw Yixian riding a small electric donkey to the door, and he was also carrying a beautiful woman, and they were all jealous. Before Yixian entered the door, 7 or 8 tall and mighty men surrounded Yixian in the middle, with ferocious faces and murderous looks, as if they wanted to eat him alive. Yixian sneered disdainfully. He had experienced mountains of corpses and seas of blood, and there were piles of bones under his feet. The few hooligans in front of him actually wanted to scare him. They really overestimated their abilities. He released his momentum, and a surging murderous aura instantly surged around, and the temperature around him dropped sharply. The faces of the several arrogant men who had just been arrogant suddenly changed drastically, and they hurriedly stepped back a few steps. When Yixian walked into the door, they realized that their backs were already covered with sweat. Walking to the front desk, Yixian slapped the table, Tell Li Meng to get out. Who are you? The beautiful woman at the front desk looked up and glanced. Yunhai University, Yixian. College student. The beautiful woman at the front desk sneered and said sarcastically, You are so arrogant, but you are just a student. Do you know where this is? After a while, Brother Hu hurried over with a few men. He recognized Yi Shen at a glance and immediately grinned coldly. You came here to be punished, right? Yi Shen ignored him and asked, where is Li Meng? Want to see Mr. Li, are you worthy? Now follow me upstairs, kneel down to Mr. Li, and then cripple one of your hands, and you can get out. Bang! Before Brother Hu finished speaking, Yi Shen suddenly made a move and slammed his head against the wall. Brother Hu felt that his head almost exploded, blood flowed down his forehead, the world spun in front of his eyes, and he fainted with a plop. There was a cry of surprise in the hall. Seeing Yi Shen beating people, Buckingham's security guards rushed over in unison, dozens of people, and surrounded him. Here comes Mr. Li. With a loud shout, the crowd made way for an aisle, and Li Meng walked over with a gloomy face, followed by Old Shu. Yi Shen looked up and was very calm. Are you Li Meng? Oh, you are so brave, breaking into the Buckingham Club and injuring my people, and you dare to be so calm, have you lived enough? Li Meng said with a sullen face. Yi Shen narrowed his eyes and said, I have been in your club for so long, but no one has served me tea or water, and there is not even a small program to liven up the atmosphere. Your service awareness is not good. Hearing this, Li Meng sneered, you want to watch the show, right? Come on together. Kill him. At Li Meng's command, dozens of black-clothed men, holding sticks in their hands, rushed towards Yi Shen in unison. Yi Shen smiled coldly, exuding a strong murderous aura. The aura of the killer god in the underground world was revealed at this moment. Bang bang bang. Yi Shen did not hold back at all when he made a move. Punching, kicking, elbowing. Like a primitive bloody dance, it contains cruel violent aesthetics. In just a few minutes, dozens of black-clad men were lying on the ground, all of them pale, with blood on the corners of their mouths, and fainted. There was only one left, looking at Yi Shen with horror on his face. This was not a fight of the same level. This man was too scary. Under his cold gaze, the last security guard couldn't help but tremble. Yi Shen sneered, do you do it yourself, or do you want me to help you? The security guard raised the iron rod without hesitation, hit his head, and then fainted. Now Li Meng's face became ugly. Mr. Li, you seem to be surprised that I can still stand. Yi Shen sneered. This is impossible. Li Meng said in surprise. Mr. Li, the program you arranged for me is so wonderful, Yi Shen sneered. As the saying goes, it's impolite not to reciprocate, so I have to give you a small program in return. With a jolt in his heart, Li Meng looked ugly, and quickly stepped back, looking at Old Shu for help. Master, I can only ask you to help. Old Shu slowly stepped forward and glanced at Yi Shen with a gloomy look. Boy, I am Xu Yongshen, the successor of Bajikan. Li Meng is my new disciple. For my sake, let's stop here today. What do you think? Yi Shen smiled slightly, I don't think it's very good. It's really ridiculous. A martial arts master from Yunhai City actually wants Yi Chijin to give him face. Is this possible? Humph, you don't know how to appreciate me. Old Shu has been arrogant from the beginning, but he has the capital to be arrogant. Taiji can bring peace to the world, and Barji can determine the fate of the world. As the descendant of Bajikan, he had experienced dozens of duels, big and small, and had never lost. His reputation and strength were far beyond that of ordinary warriors. Seeing that Yi Shen did not give him face, Old Shu was furious. He kicked his feet and rushed over violently, determined to teach this arrogant boy a lesson. He punched out with a speed so fast that ordinary people could not see it with their eyes. Even Li Meng was frightened. That's it. Yi Shen raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth, raised his right hand slowly, and then suddenly pressed it down. Wow! The two of them crossed each other. Xu Yongshen's fist brushed past Yi Shen, and his punch missed. Then a huge force fell from the top of his head. Yi Shen pressed his head with his right hand and pressed it down heavily. He lost control of his whole body, and his head hit the ground heavily. The marble slab instantly cracked into spider web-like cracks. Boom! The huge impact sounded like a drum. The room was silent. There was complete silence, with only a slight gasp of cold air. Master! Li Meng finally came to his senses and hurried over to help Old Shu up, his face full of fear. He knew Old Shu's strength very well. This was a master that the chairman had spent a lot of money to invite back with great difficulty, but Old Shu was completely powerless in front of Yi Shen. Chapter 16. This person is unpredictable. Who are you? Old Xu staggered to his feet and looked at Yi Xian with great solemnity. Me? Yi Xian's eyes were filled with murderous intent. I'm someone you can't afford to offend. Thank you for not killing me. Old Xu was already soaked in sweat. He had practiced martial arts for half his life, but he had never been so close to death. He turned to look at Li Meng and said in a low voice, "This person is unpredictable. Don't offend him. Save your life first." Li Meng's face twitched. Just as he was about to say something, Old Xu had already turned around and left in a hurry. Li Meng turned around and met Yi Xian's smirking eyes. "Mr. Li, did you enjoy watching it just now? I have a more exciting show here. The first one is called breaking a rock with the chest." Li Meng gritted his teeth and looked like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water. "Do you think this can scare me? I will not admit defeat even if I die or my body is broken into pieces." Yi Xian smiled and patted him on the shoulder. "Mr. Li, don't talk nonsense. I'm just putting on a small show for you. Relax." Wow. Yi Xian lifted up the marble coffee table weighing hundreds of pounds with one hand. What do you want to do?" Li Meng's eyes widened. This guy lifted up a marble slab weighing more than 100 pounds with one hand. Is he still human? Breaking the stone on the chest. Now that I have the stone, I still need a chest. Mr. Li will not mind lending me the chest, right? No. Li Meng's body trembled. You are unwilling to give it to me. Do you look down on me? Although I am just a student, I also have self-esteem. If you make me angry, I may change the stone breaking on the chest to the stone breaking on the head. Yi Xian said seriously. A few seconds later, Li Meng lay on the ground with a horrified face. Yi Xian put the stone slab on his chest. The stone slab weighing more than 100 kilograms made his face red. Yi Xian smiled slightly. "Mr. Li, relax, don't be nervous." The next second, Yi Xian clenched his fist with 5 fingers and punched down. There was a dull bang. The 10-centimeter thick marble slab was smashed into pieces by this punch, and the stone fragments were scattered all over the ground. Li Meng was completely scared. If such a fierce punch hit him, he would definitely be worse off than the broken stone slab. He suddenly had the urge to pee. "Mr. Li, this is the stone breaking with the chest. Is this show quite exciting?" Yi Xian sneered. "Exciting, very exciting. Then won't you applaud?" Yi Xian's face suddenly darkened. Par 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 par. Li Meng hurriedly clapped his hands. "Next, I'll show you a fierce move, a long-lost skill in the martial arts world, called chicken flying and eggs breaking." Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. Chicken flying and eggs breaking. Li Meng's heart skipped a beat. That's right. The so-called chicken flying and eggs breaking means I blindfold myself, hold a steel pipe, and swing it hard. Guess whether the chicken will fly or the eggs will break. Yi Xian picked up a steel pipe and smiled. "Mr. Li, my luck has always been bad, so I can't guess it right. You may have to bear it a little longer. Be good, open your legs." Li Meng couldn't hold on any longer. His crotch was wet and smelled of urine. "You don't like it when everything is gone? Then I'll just perform a good show." Li Meng couldn't hold on any longer, crying and begging for mercy. "Brother Yi, I was wrong, I won't dare to cause trouble to your school again. I don't want the money, and I don't need you to apologize, please let me go." Yi Xian sneered. "Is that all?" Li Meng hurriedly said, "I'll take out 2 million as a scholarship for your school. Then I'll apologize to your principal for threatening your school." Yi Xian nodded, then frowned. "Xiao Li, I'm very pleased that you set up a scholarship for the school, but you watched my performance, don't you show your appreciation?" Li Meng suddenly realized, and quickly wrote a check, respectfully saying, "This is 1 million, please take it, Mr. Yi." Par. Yi Xian slapped Li Meng away. 1 million. Do you think I'm begging? Li Meng was so scared that he trembled and said in horror, I missed a zero. It's 10 million. Yi Xian took the check and sneered, "Since you insist on giving it, I can't live up to your kindness. I will accept this 10 million with reluctance." Li Meng's face twitched, and he cursed Yi Xian for being shameless in his heart, but he didn't dare to show it. He respectfully sent Yi Xian to the door of the club. "Damn, it's really unlucky." Li Meng cursed, and then his cell phone rang, and a voice came from the other end. "Brother Li, help me get someone." Realizing that it was Sun Jie's voice, Li Meng didn't rush to agree, but asked, "What's going on?" "I was beaten by a freshman from Yunhai University. I can't swallow this breath. You have to help me." Hearing this, Li Meng snorted coldly. "It's another student from Yunhai University. The students of this school are very arrogant recently. He was just looking for a place to vent, but the other party happened to be a student of Yunhai University, which just happened to hit him. Come over for dinner tonight, let's discuss it." Outside the club. Seeing Yishen walk out of the club safely, and Baiqing's heart finally fell, and she walked forward excitedly, asking with concern, "Student Yi, are you okay?" Yishen smiled slightly, "Teacher An, don't worry, I'm fine." After entering the door, Li Meng invited me to drink tea and chat. When he heard that I was a law student, he asked me to popularize legal knowledge for him. He was very regretful, and very grateful. He performed a wonderful program for me very enthusiastically. "Wait. You popularize the law for them?" And Baiqing swallowed her saliva, looking surprised. Shengshe Group is notorious for its evil deeds in Yunhai City. How could those people listen to Yishen's popularization of the law? They listened to Yishen's popularization of the law, and they also performed enthusiastically. Why didn't she believe it? This is just like a demon who captured Tang Monk. Tang Monk taught the demon the Dharma, and the demon was so moved that he shed tears and stewed himself as a snack for Tang Monk. "Teacher, don't you believe it?" Yishen pointed at the gate of Buckingham Club and said, "If you don't believe it, I'll call Li Meng out and let him perform another show for you. Goodbye." And Baiqing was frightened and quickly pulled Yishen, "Since the matter is resolved, let's go back to school." "Teacher, sit up by yourself." Yishen held in Baiqing's little hand, and in Baiqing's heart was pounding. She subconsciously glanced at Yishen, but saw that he looked calm and didn't realize that he was holding the female teacher's hand. She couldn't help blushing. And Baiqing, what are you thinking about? Classmate Yi is an innocent and good student." Chapter 17 And Baiqing is in danger. Yishen rode a small electric scooter and brought in Baiqing to the university gate. "Student Yi, can you let me get off first?" And Baiqing lifted her hair in front of her forehead, with a bit of embarrassment on her face. Yishen was startled and showed a wronged expression. "Teacher An, is my electric scooter too broken and embarrassed you?" No. And Baiqing was afraid that Yishen would think too much, and hurriedly explained, "I'm afraid that others will see that we are so close and say that you have feelings for me." "But I have feelings," Yishen said seriously. Hearing Yishen's words, and Baiqing's heart trembled, and she really thought that Yishen had bad intentions towards her, but Yishen continued, "I originally wanted to protect the teacher, the school, and everyone." "Oh." And Baiqing was speechless for a moment. She looked at Yishen's serious look and couldn't help feeling ashamed of her thoughts just now. "Teacher An. Yishen." A shout came from behind, and Lin Wan and Sukasin came running over breathlessly. Lin Wana grabbed Yishen's arm and said anxiously, "Boss, you are dead. Sun Jie is going to use the family's power to deal with you." "Student Yi, I'm sorry, if it weren't for helping me, you wouldn't have offended Sun Jie." Sukasin grabbed Yishen's other arm and hugged it tightly to her chest, looking pitiful. Lin Wana on the left, Sukasin on the right, and An Baiqing behind him. Yishen was so happy. It turned out that college life was so wonderful. And Baiqing heard what the two girls said and asked in confusion, "What's going on? Hasn't Sun Jie been dealt with?" "Teacher An, you probably don't know that the Dean Zhaopeng not only didn't expel Sun Jie, but also wanted to expel Yishen. Sun Jie also said that he wanted Yishen to disappear from Yunhai University." Sukasin looked self-blaming. She always thought that it was because of her that Yishen offended Sun Jie, and she felt guilty for a long time. "Dean Zhao is too much, it's unreasonable." And Baiqing frowned slightly. She had always had a bad impression of the Dean Zhaopeng. As early as when she just joined the job, Zhaopeng sent her flowers every now and then, and once confessed in public downstairs of her house, but she was firmly rejected. Since then, Zhaopeng has troubled her again and again, but she has endured it. But she didn't expect that Zhaopeng would bully her students. "Student Yi, don't worry. I'll go talk to Zhaopeng." And Baiqing said as she hurried to the direction of the teaching office. Lin Wanner said with a sad face, "Boss, hurry up and run. I have arranged a boat for you. I will send you to northern Myanmar tonight." Northern Myanmar. Yishen almost spit out a mouthful of blood. Lin Wanner, I admit that although I have cheated you, you can't be so cruel to me. I'm not going anywhere. Yi Xian curled his lips and said, I am upright, what am I afraid of? Lin Wan sighed and shook her head. Although the boss is very powerful, he underestimated Sun Jie's methods. Boss, you underestimated Sun Jie. His biggest characteristic can be summed up in 2 words. Despicable. Anyone he targets will have a miserable end, not to mention you embarrassing him in public. He won't let you go. At least he'll break your arms and legs, or even your life. By the way, Sun Jie's father, Sun Longhu, is the chairman of the Dragon Tiger Group. Sukasin was terrified after hearing this, and her pretty face gradually turned pale. If Sun Jie really wants to retaliate, wouldn't classmate Yi Xian be in danger of his life? Classmate Yi Xian, it's all my fault. Sukasin felt guilty. Yi Xian took Sukasin's hand and gently stroked the school beauty's jade hand, saying with a firm look, the princess's mission is to live happily, the knight's mission is to protect happiness. To take responsibility without making a sound is the knight's courage. Sukasin was stunned on the spot. Oh my god! Is classmate Yi Xian going to be the knight who protects her? Sukasin's eyes suddenly turned red. Yi Xian's image became more and more impressive in her heart. Think about how to get through this first. Yi Xian looked at Lin Wan and said, what kind of person is the dean of teaching Zhao Peng? Lin Wanner said, I heard that he is an old pervert. He has taken advantage of many young and beautiful female teachers over the years by taking advantage of his position. Hearing this, Sukasin suddenly shouted. It's bad. Teacher An went to the teaching office alone. Will she be in danger? You two go find Principal Zheng, I'll go to the teaching office. Yi Xian gave a few instructions and quickly walked towards the teaching office. At the same time, in the teaching office, and Bai Qing pushed the door open. Teacher An, do you have something to do with me? Zhao Peng sat on the sofa, crossed his legs, adjusted his glasses, and looked at An Bai Qing with a smile. I came to you for a student's matter. Is Director Zhao free? An Bai Qing asked. I'm free, of course I'm free. Zhao Peng stood up with a sneer, closed the office door, and locked it. An Bai Qing took a step back nervously. Director Zhao, what do you mean? Chapter 18 Unspeakable Request, don't be so reserved, I'm not a tiger. Teacher An, come closer, let me take a good look. Zhao Peng pulled An Bai Qing over. An Bai Qing frowned slightly. She was disgusted by Zhao Peng's rudeness. But when she thought of Yi Xian, she had to force a smile. Director Zhao, I want to ask you for help with my student's matter. Your figure is getting better and better. Zhao Peng looked at the charming An Bai Qing, his eyes lit up with a hint of obscenity, and stepped forward with a curve at the corner of his mouth. We are all adults, so let's not talk nonsense. Your student's matter is very serious and you will be expelled. But as long as you meet my requirements, I can make a break. What requirements? An Bai Qing swallowed her saliva. She could guess that Zhao Peng would put forward conditions, but as long as the conditions were not too excessive, she could sacrifice herself to help Yi Xian. From today on, you have to accompany me whenever I call. An Bai Qing frowned. Accompany you for what? You are so beautiful, of course you will sleep with me and be my puppy. Zhao Peng showed an evil smile. Is there any problem? He narrowed his wretched eyes and swept across An Bai Qing's full mountains, not hiding his desire to play with women. Director Zhao, I'm sorry, I won't look for you for this matter. Before Zhao Peng spoke, An Bai Qing's face suddenly sank. I am a teacher, not a prostitute. Dirty words. If it weren't for the fact that this was a school, An Bai Qing would have slapped him. An Bai Qing. Zhao Peng frowned when he saw this. You can only ask me to do this. No one can help you except me. I am your last hope. What's wrong with accompanying you for a while? Women are just that, why are you pretending? An Bai Qing took a step back. Zhao Peng, you're too much. So what if I'm too much? Zhao Peng grinned unabashedly, his face full of arrogance. What can you do to me? After saying that, he suddenly stepped forward. There is no woman I can't get on the bed with. Zhao Peng sneered and walked towards An Bai Qing, reaching out to touch her face. Bang! At this moment, the office door was kicked open. Yi Xian was outside the door just now, and heard the conversation between the two inside. He could hear that Zhao Peng, the old bastard, had used his position to harass and violate female colleagues before. Since Zhao Peng was shameless, there was no need for him to show a good face. He walked directly into the office and stood in front of Zhao Peng in a nonchalant manner. Hey, Director Zhao is busy violating female colleagues. Zhao Peng is indeed an experienced old hand. When Yishan exposed him, his face did not blush. Don't talk nonsense. I didn't. Could it be that teacher and was busy violating you? Yishan touched his chin and said thoughtfully, I have only heard of toads wanting to eat swan meat, but I have never heard of swans loving toads. Puff, har har har. At this moment, and Bai Qing couldn't help laughing. Seeing this, Zhao Peng was stunned for a moment, and then he gritted his teeth in anger. He has been in this position for so many years. Which student doesn't take the initiative to flatter him when he sees him? This kid actually dared to break into his office and mocked him as a toad in person. Boy, I'll give you a chance. If you pretend you didn't hear anything, leave 100,000 yuan and get out, I won't fire you. Zhao Peng took off his disguise and snorted coldly. Just then, Yishan's cell phone rang. He picked up the phone and said, I'm in Director Zhao's office. Director Zhao said he wants to deal with me. Come quickly. Hearing this, Zhao Peng sneered and shook his head, mocking, Boy, no matter who you ask for help, it's useless. Oh? Can't even the principal control you? Chu Xian asked with a fake face. Chapter 19 How do you want the teacher to reward you? Who do you think you are? Can you meet Principal Zheng whenever you want? Zhao Peng raised a trace of disdain at the corner of his mouth. Do you think Principal Zheng will trust you, an ordinary student, or trust me, the Dean of Studies? I can fire you at any time. Aren't you afraid? Yishan was fearless and said generously. I'm not afraid. As long as I'm here today, no one can bully Teacherin. Teacherin, don't be afraid. Yishan took An Baiqing's soft hand and said, Don't be afraid, I will protect you. An Baiqing bit her red lips, looked at Yishan gratefully, her heart was touched, and she squeezed Yishan's hand tightly in response. In the critical moment, classmate Yi bravely stood up to help her fight, risking being expelled. Isn't such a brave and upright man exactly what she needs? But two blushes soon appeared on her charming face. An Baiqing, what are you thinking about? Yishan is your student. You are so shameless. How can an old cow eat young grass? But Mr. Yi doesn't he seem to be small either. What are you guys arguing about? Just then, Principal Zheng pushed open the door and strode into the office. Zhao Peng didn't expect the principal to come in person, so he immediately put on an indignant look and complained, Principal Zheng, I have never seen a student as bad as Yishan. He was jealous of Sun Jie because he was handsome and rich, so he used violence and beat him into the hospital. And Baiqing quickly stood up and argued, gritting her teeth, that's not true. He's talking nonsense. Teacherin, I want to hear Director Zhao's opinion first. Principal Zheng waved his hand, interrupting An Baiqing's explanation, and then looked at Zhao Peng. Director Zhao, how do you think this matter should be handled? An Baiqing's charming cheeks flushed slightly. She glanced at Zhao Peng, only to see a smug sneer on his face, while Yishan looked calm and didn't show any nervousness at all. She sighed quietly in her heart and now had to take things one step at a time. Zhao Peng glanced at An Baiqing complacently. How could a mere university counselor have the confidence to fight against the Dean of Studies? Slut, I'm flattering you by wanting to sleep with you. Since you don't appreciate it, don't blame me for being rude. Zhao Peng clenched his fists and said excitedly. Yishan has committed many evil deeds and must be severely punished. Inside the school, he was extremely vicious and beat a classmate into the hospital. Outside the school, he was a tyrant and harassed law-abiding businesses. Students like this cannot be appeased unless they are expelled. And Baiqing failed to fulfill her responsibilities as a teacher and is to blame. I suggest that she should be expelled. Hearing this, Principal Zheng's expression changed completely. He could no longer suppress his anger and snorted coldly, Zhao Peng, you played the villain first to complain very well. Principal, what do you mean? Zhao Peng's heart skipped a beat and he suddenly realized that something was wrong. Bang! Principal Zheng slammed a check for 2 million on the table. Bang! Principal Zheng slammed a joint letter covered with fingerprints on the table. Open your dog eyes wide and take a good look at these two things. The first one is that the Buckingham Club has donated 2 million yuan to the school to thank Mr. Yi. The second is a joint letter from eyewitnesses who witnessed the incident on the playground that night. It details what happened. Student Yi is clearly the victim. Principal Zheng's expression became increasingly ugly, and he said in a deep voice, Zhao Peng, do you think I'm so easy to fool? Do you take me, the principal, seriously? Zhao Peng swallowed nervously. He didn't expect things to develop to this point. It seems that it is impossible to fire Yishan today. He can only find a way to protect himself first. Principal, I was wrong. It's all my fault for believing one-sided words and almost wrongly accusing a good student. Zhao Peng shrank his neck and forced out an ugly smile. I apologize to both of you. Before Zhao Peng could finish his words, Yishan sneered and shook his head, shaking his phone. It's not that simple. Principal Zheng, please listen to this recording. Zhao Peng's obscene voice immediately came from the phone. Our teacher An's figure is getting better and better. Seeing how beautiful you are, of course you will sleep with me. What's wrong with staying with me for a while? There is no woman I cannot sleep with that I like. Before the recording was finished, Zhao Peng's face looked as ugly as pig liver. Coercing and luring a female colleague into bed has violated the school's bottom line. It's over, it's completely over. Zhao Peng. You bastard. Bang. Principal Zheng was so angry that his face turned red. He slapped Zhao Peng in the face and angrily said, I really misjudged you. You are a beast. Principal, Zhao Peng was so anxious that his face turned pale. Before he could explain, Principal Zheng pointed at the gate and yelled, from today on, you are no longer the dean. The school is in need of a cleaner, go and clean the toilet. Get lost. I don't want to see you again, you beast. Seeing that the principal was really angry, Zhao Peng was really scared. He didn't dare to say a word and ran out of the office with a very ugly face. It turned out that Zhao Peng wanted to kill two birds with one stone, first firing Yishan and then replacing An Baiqing. But he didn't expect that in the end he would be forced to clean the toilet. It is more painful for a dean of studies to sweep the toilet than to kill him. Zhao Peng was completely desperate. He couldn't understand why he, as the dean of studies, was being stepped on by Yishan. I'm so pissed off. Principal Zheng adjusted himself for a while before finally calming down his anger. He said embarrassedly, Student Yi, I'm so sorry about this. Can you see what the school can do for you? Yishan smiled and said, it's nothing for me, but teacher An has suffered such a great injustice, the school should compensate him, right? Yes. Compensation, definitely compensation. Principal Zheng seemed to understand something and immediately smiled at An Baiqing and said, Teacher An, the fact that you can bring up such a student fully proves that you are a good teacher. Thank you, Principal. An Baiqing raised an awkward but polite smile on her pretty face. To bring up such a student. Yishan has only been here for a few days. Principal Zheng was in a good mood and said to An Baiqing, Teacher An, remember that you haven't applied for funding for the project you're working on yet. I'll approve some funding for you now, and you can continue your research. Hearing this, An Baiqing was pleasantly surprised. She had been preparing for this project for a long time, but due to her lack of experience, she had not been able to obtain sufficient funding, which resulted in it not starting yet. But today, because of Yishan, the principal actually approved special funding. The sudden good news made her extremely happy. Thank you, Principal. Don't thank me, you should thank Yishan. If Yishan wasn't so outstanding, I wouldn't have found out that there is such an outstanding teacher like you in our school. Principal Zheng looked at Yishan and saw Yishan's satisfied smile. Principal Zheng felt a little relieved. Principal, since Zhao Peng has gone to clean the toilet, can this empty office be given to teacher An first? Yishan said. That's a good suggestion. This office will be given to teacher An. Principal Zheng had a meeting soon, so he chatted for a few minutes and then left the office. What Yishan didn't expect was that as soon as the principal left, An Baiqing rushed over, bringing a gust of fragrance and giving him a suffocating hug. Yishan, how do you want the teacher to reward you? Chapter 20 I want you to give birth to a baby for me. Yishan, how do you want me to reward you? A woman's sweet whisper rang in his ears, accompanied by a fragrant breeze, which almost made Yishan intoxicated. Yishan wanted to break free, but An Baiqing held him even tighter. Yishan only felt a fire burning in his body, like a volcano that was about to get out of control and could erupt at any time. Is this the ability of the body of natural beauty? Yishan? Why don't you speak? An Baiqing blinked her charming eyes, and her alluring voice almost made Yishan melt. As for rewards, I want you to give birth to a child for me. Yishan said in a voice as soft as a mosquito's hum. An Baiqing was so excited just now. Not only did she fire Zhao Peng, but she also got funding for the project and even had an independent office. That's why she couldn't contain her excitement and hugged Yi Xian. However, she didn't expect Yi Xian to say such a thing, which caught her off guard. Then she remembered that Yi Xian was still her student. She quickly let go of Yi Xian. Her charming face was a little hot, revealing a long-lost shyness. What did you just say? Yi Xian also controlled his mind at this time, got rid of the influence of the body of Qian Mai, and said innocently, I say, if it's a reward, can you help me with my homework? Oh, I heard it wrongly. I was so scared. And Bai Qing quickly patted his chest and breathed a sigh of relief. If it were someone else, she would definitely think that the other person was teasing her, but how could a boy as upright as Yi Xian say such shameless and dirty words? However, if Yi Xian made that kind of request. And Bai Qing's face flushed, as if she had thought of some wonderful scene, and her cheeks became redder and redder. If you need, I can help you with tutoring. And Bai Qing touched her messy hair, making her look even more charming. Can you come to my house to be a tutor? I usually go to school as a part-time student. Yi Xian said. And Bai Qing smiled and said, of course, you have helped the teacher so much, of course I can do it at your house. Teacher, you are so nice. Then we have a deal. Hearing in Bai Qing's initiative, Yi Xian had no choice but to agree excitedly. In the evening, Bai Qing took the initiative to treat Yi Xian to dinner, and Yi Xian took her to the small northeast barbecue restaurant. The boss, Aunt Sun, couldn't help but sigh that this boy is really lucky in love. Every time he comes, there is always a beautiful woman by his side, and it's never the same one the same time. As they ate and chatted, Yi Xian realized that Bai Qing was a very motivated woman. Not only did she have a position on campus, she also had a part-time job outside of campus as a legal advisor for a company. And Bai Qing even promised that she could help Yi Xian get an internship at that company, saying that the company had good benefits and many beautiful female employees. After finishing the meal, Bai Qing suddenly asked, Yi Xian, what kind of girls do you like? Yi Xian didn't answer, but just smiled meaningfully. Bai Qing didn't say anything, but her face turned red. The next day, early morning on the weekend, Jiang Yourong took a shower, put on a pair of tight yoga pants that outlined her perfect figure, and went to the yard with a fitness mat to do yoga. As soon as he entered the yard, Jiang Yourong was stunned. In the middle of the yard, Yi Xian was using both hands to hold up a stone sculpture that was more than 1 meter tall. Jiang Yourong rubbed his eyes to make sure he was not seeing things. Yi Xian actually lifted up the stone sculpture that guarded the house with ease. This stone sculpture weighed at least 2 or 3 tons. This kid is becoming more and more suspicious. Jiang Yourong twisted her round buttocks, looked around Yi Xian, and showed an admiring look. I didn't expect you to be so manly. Yi Xian glanced at the former's round curves wrapped in yoga pants and smiled slightly. You have a lot of capital. But I want to remind you that the camel's toe is exposed. Camel's toe? Jiang Yourong was stunned at first, then she looked down, her cheeks immediately flushed with embarrassment, and she glared at Yi Xian. Don't look around, little brat, or I'll dig out your eyes. Yi Xian curled his lips helplessly, pointed at the phoenix stone sculpture beside him, and asked, Did you buy this big bird? You have a good eye for choosing birds. The material feels very comfortable. Do you want to touch this big bird? Jiang Yourong glanced at Yi Xian with disdain and corrected him. This is a stone sculpture to protect the house. It's a sculpture, not a bird. Yi Xian nodded and said thoughtfully. Oh, then do you want to touch this eagle? Jiang Yourong rolled her eyes at him in embarrassment and annoyance. I'm going to ignore you. I have to interview Mr. Wang from Shenyuan Group this morning. If you call me good sister, I can introduce you to Shenyuan Group for internship. Shenyuan Group. Mr. Wang? Wang Batian. Yi Xian recalled a memory and smiled. TSK, a mere Shenyuan Group is nothing special. When Jiang Yourong heard this, he glanced at Yi Xian and was too lazy to talk to him anymore. Shenyuan Group is one of the top companies in the local area. Every year during the university graduation season, there are tons of resumes sent to Shenyuan Group. And Mr. Wang from Shenyuan Group is a well-known local figure. It is extremely difficult for ordinary people to meet him. Yi Xian, an ordinary college student, actually said that Shenyuan Group was nothing special. Could it be that he was more awesome than Mr. Wang of Shenyuan Group? She didn't take it seriously and thought Yi Xian was just bragging. As soon as Jiang Yourong went out, he saw a brand new Audi A6 driving in. The door opened and a smartly dressed young man in a suit got out of the car. The young man smiled and took the initiative to open the car door. Yourong, you are going to Shenyuan Group, right? Take my car. Jiang Yourong carefully looked at the other person and keenly sensed something was wrong. Zhang Yu, I'm going to interview Mr. Wang of Shenyuan Group, what are you doing there? Har har, maybe you don't know yet, the TV station arranged for me to go with you this time. How is this possible? This is an exclusive interview that I spent a lot of effort to get. Jiang Yourong frowned slightly. Har har, don't forget, my dad is the deputy director. Zhang Yu leaned against the car door and looked at Jiang Yourong arrogantly. Now get in the car obediently, otherwise don't blame me for being rude. You are cutting me off halfway. You are shameless. Jiang Yourong clenched her fists, tears welling up in her eyes. In order to get an exclusive interview with Wang Qinba, she went to Shenyuan Group countless times and suffered countless cold stares. When all her efforts were finally rewarded, she was intercepted by Zhang Yu, who had connections. From the moment she arrived at the TV station, Zhang Yu expressed his admiration for her and was courteous to her every day, but Jiang Yourong hated this kind of rich boy who spent every day in bars and nightclubs and was uneducated, so she rejected him without hesitation. Since then, Zhang Yu has repeatedly caused trouble for her. But I didn't expect that Zhang Yu would go so far this time. I am just shameless, so what? Your father is not the deputy director. Zhang Yu glanced at Jiang Yourong, licked his lips, and said with a sinister smile, get in my car, be my woman, and I will protect you from now on, how about it? You are following the unspoken rules. That's right, I'm going to take advantage of you. What's wrong? Zhang Yu suddenly opened his arms and hugged Jiang Yourong. Chapter 21. She had a great time. Bang! Before Zhang Yu could pounce, he was suddenly slapped hard in the face. Jiang Yourong was about to turn around when she saw Yi Shen coming over and hugging her slender waist in a domineering manner. Who are you? Zhang Yu covered his face and looked at Yi Shen. Are you blind? Can't you see? I'm her boyfriend. Impossible. Jiang Yourong doesn't have a boyfriend at all. Stop pretending to be one here. Zhang Yu snorted coldly and said contemptuously, want to be a shield for her? Ridiculous. Yi Shen smiled and said, you're right. Strictly speaking, I'm not her boyfriend. I'm just her dating friend. Keep on making it up. Zhang Yu obviously didn't believe it. Jiang Yourong was well known for being aloof in the company. She ignored all kinds of boys' pursuit. She didn't even have a boyfriend, so how could she have any boyfriends? Yi Shen opened a photo on his phone and handed it to Zhang Yu. If you don't believe me, take a look for yourself. In the photo, Jiang Yourong is lying on the floor of the hotel, with a blanket wrapped around her curvy figure, showing off her S-shaped lines to the fullest, and her pretty face with a hint of resentment. Jiang Yourong was stunned. Wasn't this the night in the hotel? Yi Shen, that bastard, actually took a sneak shot of her. Zhang Yu's face became redder and redder. This angle, this environment, this posture. Is this guy really Jiang Yourong's friend? Fuck. Zhang Yu was so angry that he cursed and felt like being stabbed in the heart by a dagger, with blood oozing out. He looked at Jiang Yourong unwillingly, then looked at Yi Shen, holding back his anger and said, boy, who are you? I? Yi Shen shrugged, I'm just an ordinary college student. An ordinary college student. Zhang Yu's worldview was hit hard again. Jiang Yourong would rather sleep with an ordinary student than give this rich second generation a chance. Yi Shen looked at the other person with disdain and said sarcastically, what's so surprising about this? Yourong was so much fun to play with and taught me a lot. You know that, right? You haven't even held Yourong's hand, have you? Oh, you're so pitiful. Not caring about Zhang Yu's murderous jealous look, Yi Shen got on the electric scooter and patted the seat. Baby, sit on it. I want to drive. Jiang Yourong was angry and embarrassed, but she couldn't explain, so she had to sit down with a red face. It's useless for you to go there. Shenyuan Group only recognizes TV stations and not people. Without me, President Wang will not accept your interview. Zhang Yu roared from behind. Who said we're going to Shenyuan Group? Let's go to KFC. Yi Shen rode his electric scooter and took Jiang Yourong with him and disappeared around the corner. KFC. Book a room. Zhang Yu stood there with an extremely wonderful expression. His eyes widened, his mouth dropped open, his face flushed. He, the son of the deputy director of a TV station, the envied rich second generation, was actually outshined by a college student. The psychological humiliation made him feel even more suffocated than the physical pain. Jiang Yourong, just wait for me. Jiang Yu gritted his teeth, his eyes full of viciousness and resentment. Yixian, thank you. On the electric bike, Jiang Yourong expressed his gratitude. You're welcome. You're a woman I've slept with, so of course I have to protect you. Yixian narrowed his eyes and braked several times on the road. Jiang Yourong rubbed against him intentionally or unintentionally. It's warm, fragrant and soft, it's really comfortable. Why are you sleeping? If you mention it again, I'll beat you to death. Jiang Yourong's face turned red with shame. Please stop the car by the roadside. I want to go back. Aren't you going to the Shenyuan group for an interview? Yixian asked. No. Zhang Yu has already gotten there before me, and Wang Qianbar won't accept my interview. After getting off the car, Jiang Yourong sighed. Yixian looked nonchalant. Don't worry, as long as I personally come, Wang Qianbar will definitely give you an interview. If you ask for his bank card password, he will tell you honestly. Jiang Yourong was amused by Yixian. She covered her mouth and laughed. Who do you think you are? The chairman of Shenyuan Group. Above Wang Qianbar, the president of Shenyuan Group, there is a chairman, but this chairman is too mysterious and has never appeared in any public occasion. The public does not know what he looks like. It is easy to tell that the person who can control such a large enterprise must be a high-ranking official in the upper class. How could he be an ordinary student like Yixian? Congratulations, you guessed it right, I am. Yixian nodded seriously. If you really mean it, I'll really be your date. Jiang Yourong curled her lips. Jiang Yourong, you said this yourself. Yixian narrowed his eyes. If you want to fight, then fight. After a while, Yixian arrived at the door of Shenyuan Group. At a glance, you can see a magnificent building standing there, much taller than the surrounding buildings, standing out from the crowd. The security guard came over and asked curiously, Brother, you look like you work at Shenyuan Group, don't you? Although the security guard had only been at work for a short time, all employees of Shenyuan Group were dressed in suits and formal attire. This was the first time he had seen someone like Yixian entering the company building in casual attire. Yixian said, I don't work here. Wang Qianbar is my younger brother. I came to inspect his work. Upon hearing this, the security guard glanced at Yixian and couldn't help but sneer in his heart. Mr. Wang of Shenyuan Group is a well-known local figure. He is usually surrounded by dignitaries, and it is difficult for ordinary people to even meet him. Yixian is so young, but he actually said that Mr. Wang is his younger brother. Does that mean Shenyuan Group is his? Is he the chairman of Shenyuan Group? How is this possible? If he were to say so, he would have said that he was the Secretary General of the United Nations. You can't brag without thinking. I can't let you in. Hey! Where are you? The security guard looked around, but Yixian was gone. Yixian walked to the front desk of the lobby and said to the receptionist, Please inform Wang Qianbar that someone is looking for him and ask him to come down. The receptionist was stunned when she heard Yixian's words. She thought hard for a long time but couldn't remember which group employee was named Wang Qianbar. She gave an apologetic smile. Sir, can you tell me his work department and position? Oh, he is the president of the group. As soon as he finished speaking, several receptionists at the front desk looked at him in surprise, with complicated expressions. The receptionist who received Yixian suddenly realized who Wang Qianbar was. Wasn't he the president of their Shenyuan Group? Who is Wang Qianbar? He is a big shot in the local business community. Although he is only the president of the group, the mysterious chairman has never appeared, so he is actually the head of Shenyuan Group. Every day, countless dignitaries come to the company to visit, but Wang Qianbar refuses to meet them, not to mention Yixian, a boy dressed in ordinary clothes, who is not here to visit, but to ask Wang Qianbar to come down to see him. This tone is too loud. I'm sorry, our president Wang is very busy. He is being interviewed by a reporter. Besides, President Wang never sees guests without an appointment. Although the receptionist felt it was a bit strange, she still maintained due politeness when she saw Yixian's serious expression. You don't have to worry about that. Just tell him my last name is Yi, and he will come down to see me. Yixian said. The receptionist was troubled for a moment, worried that Yixian was really a distinguished guest of the company and afraid of delaying things, so she nodded and said, Then please wait a moment, I will call the president's assistant to report. As soon as the call ended, a charming woman in a tight skirt walked out of the elevator. Chapter 22: The Boss's Boss. Sister Xu. Seeing Xu Lei coming in person, the front desk receptionists hurriedly greeted her. Xu Lei was also a front desk receptionist before. Later, relying on her perfect figure and bold style, she climbed into Wang Qinba's bed, got on the promotion platform, and became Wang Qinba's personal secretary. She glanced at Yi Xian, who was wearing casual clothes, and frowned slightly. Who wants to see Mr. Wang? Him. The receptionist repeated what had just happened. Are you kidding me? Mr. Wang is extremely busy and is currently accepting an exclusive media interview, and you want him to come down to meet a poor student? Mr. Wang usually meets high-ranking officials. How could he know such a poor student? Where's your brain? Forget it, you are not suitable for this job. Go to the finance department to collect your salary and leave. The receptionist felt extremely aggrieved, with tears in her eyes. Yi Xian frowned. What did this receptionist do wrong? You came up and started to accuse me, and even called me a liar. Is this how the top executives of Shenyuan Group do things? Yi Xian's rebuttal surprised Xu Lei. Xu Lei quickly came back to her senses and sneered. Little brother, I've seen a lot of people like you. To put it bluntly, you're just a bunch of speculators who want to try their luck. You will never meet a person of high rank like Mr. Wang in your lifetime. There are countless people vying to curry favor with him, and you are not the only one who matters. Xu Lei crossed her arms and spoke arrogantly. Yi Xian said calmly, how did you know that I don't know Wang Qinba? Har, this is too simple. You can tell by looking at your clothes. I have never seen any of Mr. Wang's guests wearing clothes that cost hundreds of dollars. Xu Lei sneered. Whether what I said is true or not, just call your boss and you will know. Yi Xian said. Our boss is very busy and doesn't have time to waste with people like you. Just get out of here after you finish talking. Don't waste time here. Xu Lei said disdainfully. HMPH, busy? I want to see how busy he is. I want him to get over here right now. Xu Lei sneered. Interesting, you even asked our President Wang to come here in person. I want to see what you can do. Do you really think you are such a big shot? Can you call our boss over with just one phone call? Yi Xian said calmly, 2 minutes. If he can't get here within 2 minutes, I will fire him. I can fire anyone here if I want. Har, go ahead and keep pretending. I want to see how long you can keep pretending. Xu Lei said with disdain, if Mr. Wang doesn't show up in 2 minutes, don't blame me for asking the security guards to kick you out. However, just 1 minute later, a middle-aged man in a suit and tie came jogging over in a hurry. Seeing this, the surrounding employees immediately stood up respectfully and shouted, Hello, Mr. Wang. Xu Lei was also surprised when she saw it. Strange, why is Mr. Wang here? Could it be that this guy really called? Impossible. Who is the boss? How could he be connected to this poor student? It must be just a coincidence. Thinking of this, Xu Lei's nervous heart relaxed. Boss, why are you here? Xu Lei asked with a smile. However, Wang Qinba's eyes were not on her at all. He trotted to Yi Xian and said respectfully. Boss, why are you here? As soon as the words fell, everyone present was stunned. Xu Lei was petrified instantly and looked at Yi Xian in astonishment. She would never have thought that her boss would actually call this poor student boss. So, isn't he the boss of his boss? I'm here to inspect. What? Are you not welcome? Yi Xian said. Welcome, of course. Wang Qinba smiled. I am so honored that you came to inspect in person. You didn't even tell me in advance, so I didn't make any preparations. Yi Xian suddenly interrupted. Do I need to report to you? Hearing this, Wang Qinba's heart skipped a beat. He knew something must have happened. Boss, which blind person made you angry? Wang Qinba asked cautiously. Yi Xian said calmly, your female secretary said that I was a poor student and that I was not qualified to see you, and she even asked the security guard to kick me out. As soon as the words fell. Bang! Wang Qinba slapped Xu Lei hard in the face. Idiot, do you know who he is? How dare you say that Mr. Yi is a poor student? Wang Qinba was more ferocious than ever before. Hurry up and kneel down. You'd better pray that Master Yi will forgive you, otherwise, I will kill you. Xu Lei's face was filled with fear and she knelt down quickly. Wang Qinba was a businessman and also a top underground figure in Yunhai City. He relied on his daring fighting and killing to grow bigger and reach his current position. Although he has cleaned up his name and is running a legitimate business, his status has never been shaken and he is enough to compete with Sun Longhu. If Wang Qinba gets angry, he will really kill her. In her horror, she couldn't imagine who Yishen was that could make a giant like Wang Qinba so frightened. A hint of smile appeared on Yishen's cold face. You've done a great job over the years. He was indeed praising Wang Qinba. He did not expect that in just a few years, Wang Qinba could develop Xuan Group to such a level. But when Wang Qinba heard this, he broke out in a cold sweat, thinking that Yishen was mocking him. Although he is the one who manages Xuan Group, all the assets belong to Yishen. He just works for Yishen, and Yishen is the real chairman. Now the chairman came to inspect the group for the first time, but he was blocked outside the door by the female secretary. This is a slap in the chairman's face. Thinking of this, Wang Qinba's heart trembled, and he suddenly knelt on one knee in front of everyone. Boss, I'm sorry. The whole place was dead silent. A well-known figure in Yunhai City's business community actually knelt down in public. If this gets out, it will definitely be enough to shock the entire Yunhai City. Others might be shocked, but Wang Qinba and Xu Lei, who were kneeling on the ground, could only feel despair in their hearts at this moment. Especially Xu Lei, her attitude just now was full of arrogance, and she even asked the security guards to kick Yishen out, but now, even President Wang knelt down to Yishen, how could she not be terrified? Yishen's eyes fell on Xu Lei. Just now, I said that anyone here could be fired, including Wang Qinba. You said I was lying. So now, do you believe it? Xu Lei's body kept shaking, and she hurriedly looked towards Wang Qinba for help. Wang Qinba, who was usually very nice to her, now had a cold face and didn't have the slightest intention of paying attention to her. Master Yi, I was wrong. Xu Lei felt extremely desperate. The enormous pressure brought by Yishen made it difficult for her to breathe. Don't be nervous. Since this is your first offense, I won't do anything to you. Yishen glanced at her and said calmly, but if you do something wrong, you must accept the punishment. Then, Yishen's gaze fell on the receptionist. From now on, you will take over her position. Xuan Group needs employees like you. Chapter 23 9 stars in a row. Thank you, Mr. Yi. The receptionist was stunned at first, and then her eyes were filled with tears of excitement. She originally thought she was going to be fired, but with just one word from Yishen, she was promoted and given a raise, and her salary increased several times. She hurriedly thanked Yishen, unable to contain her ecstasy. Okay, I don't like to be too high profile, let's clear the place. Yishen said calmly, then turned and walked out. I have something to talk to you about alone. Yes. Wang Qinba quickly got up from the ground, looked coldly at the stunned people around him, and shouted coldly. Remember this, Xuan Group is named after Master Yi. If anyone is blind and offends Master Yi again, I will bury his entire family with him. Remember. Wang Qinba was a gangster in his early years, and his speech had a strong gangster tone, which made people afraid. In addition to fear, everyone was more shocked. This young man in casual clothes, who is only about 20 years old, is actually the mysterious chairman of Xuan Group. In other words, Wang Qinba requested that the matter be kept secret, otherwise, if the news got out, the entire Yunhai City business community would be in for a drastic change. The two came to a secluded corner. Yishen took out a cigarette, and Wang Qinba quickly took out a lighter and lit the cigarette. Master Yi, you are finally back. Wang Qinba is an old subordinate of Yishen's father. When he was young, he was wandering in the capital. He offended some high-ranking officials, was sealed in a cement tank, and was almost thrown into the sea and drowned. Fortunately, Yishen's father appeared and not only saved him, but also gave him a sum of money, allowing him to return to Yunhai City and become a local business tycoon step by step. Everything he has today was given to him by the Yi family father and son. Xuan Group will always be Yishen's property, and he is just a steward. Same, very similar. Looking at the young man in front of him, Wang Qinba's eyes were filled with tears of excitement. Seeing young Master Yi reminded me of Mr. Yi. He treated me like a brother in the past. When Mr. Yi got into trouble, I couldn't help him at all. Thinking of the past, Wang Qinba couldn't help but burst into tears. A soft sigh. Yishen patted Wang Qinba on the shoulder and said, "How's the matter I asked you to investigate?" Hearing this, the sadness on Wang Qianbar's face gradually subsided, and he showed a ruthless expression. Mr. Yi, I have already found out that on the night Mr. Yi got into trouble, he and Mrs. Yi went to the Yi family ancestral temple together. From then on, Mr. Yi seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth, without any news from us. After that, on the 49th day when the 1,000 monks set up the altar and performed the ritual, strange noises were heard in the Yi family ancestral hall. Wang Qianbar gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. Young Master Yi, you have never been doomed. The death of Mr. Yi and his wife has nothing to do with you. The truth is hidden in the Yi family's ancestral temple. Yi Xian slowly closed his eyes. Time seemed to have come to a standstill. It was unknown how long it took before he opened his eyes again, but the sharp light in his eyes could not be concealed. Looking to the north, his eyes were as sharp as guns, looking down on everyone. He is not a doomed star. The truth is, there is something else. One day, I will come to the Yi family in person and wash away everything. Yi Wuji, Yi Fei, just watch carefully, I will make all of you regret everything you have done. Yi Xian's voice was not loud, but it was so cold that even the temperature around him seemed to drop suddenly. Hearing this, Wang Qianbar took a deep breath, his heart in turmoil. If you want to enter the ancestral temple, you must first become the head of the Yi family. This means that Yi Xian must defeat Yi Wuji at the Yi family meeting. Yi Wuji is Yi Xian's second uncle and the current head of the Yi family. He is the most amazing martial arts genius in the Yi family in the past 100 years, and he is also the Northern Territory warlord who swept across the 3 most powerful foreign powers. And the Yi family meeting will be held in 1 year. For anyone, this plan is simply a fantasy and almost suicidal. But this man in front of me might be able to. I told you back then that if you follow me, you must be prepared to face everything. I am going to walk a path that goes against the will of heaven. Do you dare to follow me? Yi Xian's eyes became sharp, and his voice could not conceal his domineering attitude. I swear to follow Master Yi until death. Wang Qianbar cupped his hands. I really didn't make a mistake. Yi Xian nodded slightly and solemnly instructed. Shenyuan Group will be managed by you. Help me rent the highest mountain in Yunhai City within a month. In this month, everything must be kept low-key. I don't want to attract attention too early and affect my plans. 1 month later, 9 stars will appear in a row in the sky, a phenomenon that only happens once in 2,000 years on Earth. This is his only chance to break through the 9 heavens star art. Wang Qianbar knew very well the importance of this matter, and nodded quickly, keeping these things firmly in mind. At this moment, Yi Xian's mouth suddenly curled up. Oh, there's one more thing I want you to do. Downstairs of Yunhai City TV station. Yi Xian, did you really go to Shenyuan Group to cause trouble? Jiang Yourong was wearing an OL uniform and walking hurriedly in high heels. Yes, what's wrong? Yi Xian said with a smile. Seeing Yi Xian's calm look, Jiang Yourong felt helpless. Just now, the TV station reported that Zhang Yu's interview with President Wang was interrupted because someone suddenly caused trouble in Shenyuan Group. For a business tycoon like Mr. Wang, time is so precious that it is counted by the second. If this interview fails, don't even think about the next one. Not to mention, Zhang Yu has already found out that the person causing the trouble was Yi Xian. Now Zhang Yu has returned to the TV station and is complaining to the president. You little brat, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job. Jiang Yourong sighed, he could already guess what the outcome would be. Just as she was daydreaming, Yi Xian took out a USB flash drive and stuffed it into Jiang Yourong's hand. Don't worry, I won't let you lose your job. Otherwise, who will pay my rent? If you show this USB drive to the TV station's boss, they will definitely give you a promotion and a raise. Jiang Yourong was convinced. He looked at the USB flash drive in his hand with disgust and said, "What's in it? Please don't mess with me. I can't bear the shock anymore." Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and smiled. This contains the interview content of Wang Qianbar. Oh, yes, there is also the interview content of the chairman of Shenyuan Group. Puff. Jiang Yourong almost choked to death on his saliva. She stared at the young man in front of her with her eyes wide open, trying to tell if he was joking. But the other party was extremely serious. Damn it. My landlord is a weirdo. He just picked up a USB flash drive and dared to claim it was an exclusive interview with Mr. Wang. How could he make that up? It's simply a fantasy. At this moment, Jiang Yourong's newly developed good impression of Yi Xian immediately disappeared completely. Alas, he is still a younger brother after all. I know you want to save face, but there's no need to do this. I don't blame you, but I hope you can be more mature and not make such inappropriate jokes. That's it, I'm back to work. Chapter 20 for Rapid Reversal. The atmosphere in the large conference room was extremely solemn. The TV station's highest rated program is the Personal Interview Series, and this episode was previewed a long time ago. Now that the interview has failed, how can we explain this to the public? Jiang Yourong was sitting in the corner of the conference room. He looked around and found that all the executives of the TV station had come, and without exception, their faces were livid. Why? Jiang Yourong sighed and took out the USB flash drive given by Yi Xian, on which there was a sticky note with the words, "Exclusive interview with Xuan Group," written on it. When she thought of Yi Xian's confident look, she felt like laughing. Yi Xian even asked her to show the USB flash drive to her leader, and she was really speechless. The TV station leaders were all furious. Bringing out such a strange USB drive would only make her death more miserable. This brat has good character, but he has some unrealistic ideas. Jiang Yourong murmured. Hey, Jiang Yourong, you're still thinking about that brat. You look like you've lost your soul. Suddenly, a mocking voice sounded in my ears. Jiang Yourong looked in the direction of the voice and saw Zhang Yu's provocative face. She immediately said in a cold voice, "Whether I want a man or not is none of your business." Zhang Yu rolled his eyes and deliberately raised his voice, "I am dying of laughter. You pretend to be so pure in the TV station every day, but you have been slept with countless men outside. Try to say that again." Jiang Yourong was furious. "I just said what's wrong. Hey, what is this?" Zhang Yu was equally unwilling to be outdone, but suddenly he saw the USB flash drive on the table and grabbed it away. "Give me back my things," Jiang Yourong said angrily. Just as she was about to snatch it, Zhang Yu ran away. "Oh, you're so excited, it looks like something shameful." Zhang Yu waved the USB drive in a frivolous manner, and suddenly he saw a line of words on it, "Exclusive interview with Xuan Group." The next second, Zhang Yu laughed, and tears almost came out of his eyes. "I am dying of laughter. Jiang Yourong, are you crazy? Where did you get this USB drive? The handwriting looks like it was written by a man. Could it be that boy gave it to you? Is it your turn to sleep with him? You're so easy to fool. Har har har." Everyone in the conference room looked at Jiang Yourong, their eyes slightly different, and many people whispered. Jiang Yourong gritted her teeth and said word by word, "Zhang Yu, give my things back to me." "Give it back to you." Zhang Yusong sneered, thinking that this thing couldn't be real interview material anyway, so he threw it on the ground and stepped on it. Jiang Yourong quickly picked up the USB drive and carefully wiped off the dirt on it. Before she could get angry, a middle-aged man walked into the meeting room. "Master Wang." Everyone in the conference room stood up. "Director Wang from the TV station is here." Director Wang glanced at everyone and said with a sullen face, "I called you all here for a meeting. You should know why." "Who is Wang Qianbar?" "He is one of the most powerful business tycoons in the province. It was so hard for the station to get an interview with him, and now this has happened. It is definitely a heavy blow to our station." Director Wang propped his hands on the conference table and asked sternly, "Tell me what to do. Who will give me an explanation?" There was silence in the meeting room. At this moment, an idea popped into Zhang Yu's mind that he could take the opportunity to destroy Jiang Yourong. Who knows, she might even become the laughingstock of the TV station. "Director, Jiang Yourong has the interview materials of Xuan Group. She also said that she can definitely save the TV station." Zhang Yu sneered. Everyone's eyes immediately fell on Jiang Yourong, but she panicked. It was true that she had a USB flash drive in her hand, but Yi Xian was just joking. How can you bring out something as funny as this? She glanced at Zhang Yu, who was sneering, obviously intending to make her look ridiculous. What to do? Is she really going to become the laughingstock of the TV station? Director Wang stared at Jiang Yourong and said excitedly, "Yourong, quickly bring out the interview materials. If it's true, I will immediately promote you to director." Jiang Yourong was dumbfounded. She didn't expect the director to be so generous. According to the normal promotion path, it would take her at least 10 years to become the director. But she doesn't have any interview materials, she only has a broken USB flash drive. "Yourong, I know you have been wronged in this interview, but this is the only chance to save the TV station. Please." Director Wang got really angry when he saw that she was hesitant to move. Aye. Jiang Yourong held the USB drive tightly in her hand, tears almost falling from her eyes. Just when Jiang Yourong was distracted, Director Wang took away the USB drive and a video clip immediately appeared on the screen. The meeting room suddenly became quiet. Everyone looked at the big screen. Director Wang and several senior executives gradually became excited. Because the image of Wang Qianber really appeared on the screen. This is the first time that this provincial business leader has accepted a media interview, and it was an exclusive interview. What surprised everyone even more was that the back of a thin young man appeared in the picture. Although we couldn't know what he looked like, Wang Qianber next to him introduced that this person was the mysterious chairman of Xuan Group. A true legend in Yunhai City's business community. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Damn, is this true or not? The identity of the chairman of Xuan Group is so mysterious. He has never appeared in the public eye before. This is the first time. Zhang Yu's face was grim. He couldn't believe it. He covered his mouth and murmured, "Impossible. This is impossible. How could she have an interview video? This video must be fake." The one who was most shocked at this moment was Jiang Yourong. At this moment, she was completely stunned. Is this true? The USB flash drive Yishen gave me is actually real? How is this possible? Director Wang's eyes were full of enthusiasm, and he said excitedly, "I can even get an interview with the chairman of Xuan Group. Once this video is released, our TV station will become famous." Director Wang was so excited that his face turned red and he almost shouted with excitement. "Jiang Yourong, you did a great job. I knew I had the right person. You will be the director of the TV department from now on." Yishen's figure appeared in Jiang Yourong's mind. Thinking of her suspicion of Yishen today, she wanted to slap herself. Why did she doubt Yishen? But where did Yishen get this USB drive? At this time, Jiang Yourong's mind was in a mess, so confused that he almost went crazy. The next second, everything went dark before everyone's eyes. The USB drive suddenly broke. Director Wang asked quickly, "Xiao Jiang, what's going on?" Before Jiang Yourong could speak, someone pointed at Zhang Yu and said, "Director, before you came here, Zhang Yu snatched the USB drive from Jiang Yourong and stepped on it. If you hadn't arrived in time, I'm afraid the USB drive would have been destroyed." Hearing this, everyone looked at Zhang Yu. Everyone's eyes were filled with anger. This is a matter of life and death for the TV station. This bastard actually stepped on it and broke it. He is courting death. Chapter 25, A Beautiful Girl in a Golden House. Director Wang gnashed his teeth, glared at Zhang Yu, and said fiercely, "Zhang Yu, do you want to destroy our TV station? From now on, you are fired from the TV station. Get out of the meeting room. Also, if anything goes wrong with this interview, the TV station will hold you responsible. You'd better hope this USB drive can be repaired." Zhang Yu was terrified and begged for mercy. "Director, I really didn't mean it. I was just joking with Jiang Yourong. Yourong, please help me say something. I know I was wrong this time, and I will never dare to do it again. Really, I swear." Zhang Yu looked at Jiang Yourong nervously. Jiang Yourong said without even turning his head, "The director told you to get out, didn't you hear me?" Zhang Yu swallowed his saliva and finally pleaded, "Master, can you please do this for my father's sake? I just fired you, I'm already giving your father face." After saying this, Director Wang turned and left. Seeing the director leave, several executives and colleagues at the TV station couldn't help it. This bastard almost ruined the TV station. Some people even walked over, pointed at Zhang Yu and cursed him. "Idiot. I've been annoyed with you for a long time. If you cause trouble for the TV station, I'll be the first to deal with you. Get out of here now. Get ready to be beaten." In desperation, Zhang Yu covered his head with his hands and ran out of the meeting room as if he was running for his life. Afternoon. Yishen had just returned to the yard when he suddenly felt a pair of eyes staring at him secretly from behind. "Jiang Yourong, are you in love with me?" Yishen turned around and squinted his eyes at the beautiful woman in OL uniform behind him. "Of course not. How could a queen like me be interested in a little brother like you?" Jiang Yourong put her hands in front of her and raised her pointed chin. "I like mature men, such as the mysterious chairman of Xuan Group." Yishen's mouth curled up into an arc. "Tell me, what do you want from me?" Jiang Yourong lifted her hair embarrassedly and told the story of the damaged USB flash drive. She thought Yixian would also have a headache, but what she didn't expect was that Yixian agreed very casually, as if it was just a trivial matter. She curled her lips and forced herself to hold back the questions she wanted to ask Yixian. She became more and more curious about Yixian's identity, and felt that this ordinary young man must be hiding some secrets. Today she asked her friend in the police station to check Yixian's identity information, but after searching for a long time, she found that although Yixian's information was not encrypted, it was blank, as if he had never existed in this world. She refused to believe it, so she asked a friend with higher authority to help investigate, but the result was the same. This completely shocked her. It was the first time she had encountered such a thing. Yixian did not leave any information in this world except his name and age. Everything is empty. In the modern information society, this is absolutely impossible. What's more, Yixian should at least have a grandfather, so why is there no information about his relatives? Not long after, there was a knock on the courtyard door. Who is it? Jiang Yourong opened the door, and to her surprise, there was a beautiful woman outside the door whose appearance and figure were just as good as hers. Her long, shiny black hair and green, tight-fitting cheongsam make her figure look taller and sexier. Her curvy figure and exquisite and perfect face are enough to outshine many female stars. But she doesn't remember knowing the other person. Wang Miaoyin, who was outside the door, looked at Jiang Yourong with a puzzled look on her face. She remembered her uncle saying that this was clearly where Mr. Yi lived. She took a look at Jiang Yourong's figure and actually felt a sense of loss. There is such a beautiful woman in Yun province. Is Yi Shao in there too? A beautiful woman in a golden house. Who are you looking for? Jiang Yourong asked with a frown. I'm here to deliver something to Master Yi. Wang Miaoyin said calmly, and then asked, do you live with Master Yi? Mr. Yi? Yixian? Jiang Yourong nodded subconsciously. Wang Miaoyin's expression changed immediately, as if she understood something in an instant, and she felt a little empty in her heart. As a woman, Jiang Yourong immediately understood something when she saw the change in the former's expression. For some reason, she felt a little hostile and deliberately did not explain what she had just said. At this time, Yixian just came over and saw the two women were on the verge of a fight. He coughed quickly. What's going on? I'm here to see you. Jiang Yourong sneered deliberately. Hello, Master Yi. My name is Wang Miaoyin. Wang Miaoyin quickly put aside the thoughts in her mind, bowed slightly, and said with a smile, because this thing is too valuable, my uncle is worried and asked me to deliver it personally. I'm sorry for being so abrupt this time. Master Yi, please forgive me. Yixian took the USB drive and said, thank you for the trouble this time. I'll treat you to dinner tonight. I'll send the address to your uncle. Wang Miaoyin smiled slightly, then looked at Jiang Yourong meaningfully, then turned and left. After Wang Miaoyin left, Jiang Yourong walked up to Yixian with a sneer and asked curiously, who is that beautiful lady? She calls you young Master Yi all the time when she sees you? I saw her staring at me like a love rival. Is she having an affair with you? Yixian curled his lips and explained, the uncle she mentioned is Wang Qianba, the president of Shenyuan Group. She is Wang Qianba's niece. The previous interview was possible thanks to his help. This was also the first time I met her. Jiang Yourong looked at Yixian in surprise. She would never have thought that the interview USB flash drive was given to her by Wang Qianba himself. He even sent his niece to deliver it personally. What is going on? Jiang Yourong suddenly thought of something and asked tentatively, tonight. I haven't eaten yet, how about I go with you? You? Yixian took a look. Do you think I'm not as pretty as her? Jiang Yourong deliberately puffed out her chest. Yixian couldn't resist taking a look at her and could only nod in agreement. Not far away. In a Bentley car. Wang Miaoyin got into the car angrily and closed the door. Wang Qianba saw his niece coming back and asked quickly, Miaoyin, has young Master Yi seen it? Wang Miaoyin snorted coldly, yes, I have seen her. She has a beautiful girl hidden in her golden house. Wang Qianba was stunned for a moment, then he immediately reacted and asked with a smile, did you see other women in the house? Wang Miaoyin leaned on the sofa, crossed her slender white legs, and said unhappily, I thought Mr. Yi was a gentleman, but I didn't expect that he likes women with sexy bodies and queen-like figures. Too vulgar. But then again, that woman's appearance and figure are not inferior to mine, no wonder Mr. Yi couldn't resist. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. She scolded, "Uncle, he already has a woman. Don't let me get in touch with this young Master Yi." When Wang Qinba heard this, he suddenly laughed and patted his niece on the shoulder. "Hey, I thought it was something else. Miaoyin, uncle tells you, this is great news. How can this be a good thing?" Wang Miaoyin looked confused and couldn't figure it out. Chapter 26. Who is Yi Xiao? This is great news. As a business tycoon, Wang Qinba has some experience in the underworld. He said with a smile, he has such a beauty by his side, which shows that Mr. Yi also has 7 emotions and 6 desires. This is a good opportunity for us. As long as you take the initiative, Mr. Yi will definitely not be able to resist. Moreover, you have no idea how powerful Master Yi is. Not to mention Yunhai City, even the entire Yun province is nothing to him. The scenery in his eyes is not limited to this. For a big shot like this, there will definitely be a lot of women around him in the future. Not to mention 3 or 5, even 10 wouldn't be too many. When Wang Miaoyin heard what her uncle said, she frowned slightly, but after thinking about it carefully, she realized that what he said was correct. From ancient times to the present, which powerful man has been without a woman by his side? Women are just decorations for the strong. Even my uncle, as the president of Shenyuan Group, has many women outside. What's more, there is Yi Xiao, who is even more powerful in the eyes of my uncle. Wang Miaoyin fell into deep entanglement. At this time, Wang Qinba received a message from Yi Xian, the address of which was a barbecue restaurant. Little Northeastern Barbecue. Why haven't I heard of this place? Wang Qinba was a little confused. He had been in Yunhai City for decades and knew almost all the famous restaurants. Let me check. Wang Miaoyin took out her cell phone and frowned. Found it, not far from here, but what? But it seems to be a fly-in-the-wall restaurant, in the University Snack Street, not very famous. The average cost per person is 50. University Snack Street. Fly House. Per capita consumption 50. Wang Qinba couldn't help but be stunned. They have been frequenting high-end places in recent years, and it is common for a meal to cost tens of thousands of yuan. Now Yi Xian actually invited them to eat at a fly restaurant. If someone else had done this, Wang Qinba would have smashed the table long ago. But he was not angry at all towards Yi Xian, and even felt a little smug. Young Master Yi treats us as his own people. Quick! Drive! Go back and change into more seductive clothes. The other side. Yi Xian waited outside Jiang Yourong's room, urging her countless times. It took me an hour to dress up. The door opened and Jiang Yourong walked out with a proud look on her face. A short white skirt, white knee-high stockings, and seldom worn high heels. "Yourong, are you going on a blind date dressed like this?" Yi Xian asked with his eyes wide open. This was the first time he saw Jiang Yourong wearing such delicate makeup and dressing so sexily. Jiang Yourong was actually very conflicted. On the one hand, she has some fantasies about Yi Xian, but on the other hand, she has to pretend to be reserved. Her figure and appearance are similar to Wang Miaoyin's, but she changed into a more gentle white color, not wanting to be overshadowed by Wang Miaoyin. But she also has advantages. Even though her makeup is not as delicate as Wang Miaoyin's, her bust is more mature. The name Yourong is not given for nothing. It depends on what type of woman Yi Xian prefers. The streets are very crowded on weekend nights. The taxi stopped not far from the University Snack Street. The two had just got out of the car when a black car suddenly rushed past. If Yi Xian hadn't been quick to pull it back, the car would have almost hit Jiang Yourong. "Can you drive?" Jiang Yourong said angrily. The car door opened, and Zhang Yu and a middle-aged man got out of the car. Zhang Yu also noticed Jiang Yourong. The humiliation he suffered at the TV station today will be deeply engraved in his mind and he will never forget it for the rest of his life. In front of dozens of colleagues, he was fired. The job is gone. The status is gone. The image built up over many years was destroyed in an instant. This is all the fault of that bitch Jiang Yourong. He will never swallow his anger and will make this bitch pay the price. "Cousin, did you see that slut in white stockings? That bitch I told you about who slept with the college student is her." "Fuck. I know her. The man next to her is Yi Xian." Zhang Yu's cousin is Zhao Peng, who recognized Yi Xian at a glance. This bastard pretends to be an excellent student in front of the principal, but when he walks out of the school gate, he lets the female reporter wear white stockings. In fact, he couldn't understand why the principal helped this kid. He checked and found that this kid had no background at all. Zhao Peng snorted coldly, it's really a narrow road for enemies to meet. Let's go and meet them. After a while, Zhang Yu walked up to Jiang Yourong, took a look at her, and sneered, hey, isn't this reporter Jiang? Why are you dressed like this? If you don't know, you might think you're a streetwalker. Zhao Peng also said with a sigh, Mr. Yi, you didn't expect to meet me here, did you? You? Jiang Yourong didn't want to waste time with these two people, so he pulled Yi Xian and walked inside. Yi Xian, don't waste time talking to this kind of people, let's go eat. Yi Xian glanced at the two of them without saying anything, and continued walking forward with Jiang Yourong. Zhao Peng looked at the direction the two left and snorted, going to this shabby street to eat. What a poor guy, actually taking a woman to such a shabby place to eat. It seems that I was overthinking before, this guy really has no background. Let's go over there and have a look. I know some people on this street. Let's have some fun with them. University Snack Street, Shaodong Barbecue. On Sunday evening, there were not many students coming out to eat, and the area in front of the door seemed a little deserted. Just then, a Bentley sedan slowly drove past the door. This car is so luxurious, it's the first time I've seen it. Wow, it's really impressive. The life of rich people is really enviable. The barbecue master exclaimed with envy. Aunt Sun also looked at the Bentley car with envy, and smacked her lips and said, TSK TSK, if you can't ride in this kind of car when you are born, you will never ride in it in your life. The difference between big bosses like them and people like us at the bottom is too big. If you have this free time, you might as well grill a few more skewers of meat. However, the next second, the Bentley car suddenly stopped. Aunt Sun and several employees were stunned. What is going on? Could it be, looking for them? Mr. Wang, miss, we're here. The driver about respectfully opened the back door. Wang Qianbar got out of the car, glanced at the barbecue restaurant, and smiled at Aunt Sun. Can you leave a private room for me? Aunt Sun was completely confused. Even though she didn't know Wang Qianbar, she could tell from his dress and temperament that he was definitely of high status. Several shop assistants were even more attracted by Wang Miaoyin. They didn't expect that there was such a beautiful woman in Yunhai City. She was like a fairy from heaven. How could such a big boss come to eat at a simple barbecue restaurant like theirs? They can't afford it. Did you find the wrong place? Aunt Sun asked nervously, rubbing her hands. Wang Qianbar took a look at the sign and said with certainty, yes, this is the store. Master Yi introduced it to us. He said he is a regular customer of yours. Mr. Yi? Regular customer. Aunt Sun was even more confused. How could she know Mr. Yi? How could she, a small-time person selling barbecue at the University Snack Street, possibly know some rich young master? Suddenly, something occurred to Aunt Sun, and she said in surprise, could it be Yi Xian? Chapter 27 Jiang Yourong's True Identity. As soon as Aunt Sun opened her mouth, she quickly covered her mouth. Impossible, Xiao Yi is just a student, how could he be Mr. Yi? Hearing the name Yi Xian, Wang Qianbar nodded slightly and said, yes, Yi Xian is Master Yi. Wang Qianbar's voice was not loud, but it sounded like thunder in Aunt Sun's mind. Damn, is it really Xiao Yi? When do small leaves become fewer leaves? Is he out of his mind, inviting these rich people to dine at a restaurant like theirs? Even though she had 1,000 questions in her mind, Aunt Sun still put on a smile and welcomed Wang Qianbar and Wang Miaoyin in. Don't mind, our store is a little small. Since you are Xiao Yi's friend, I will give you a large bottle of Coke for free. After a while, Yi Xian and Jiang Yourong also walked to the door of the barbecue restaurant. At this time, a black car caught up from behind. Jiang Yourong turned around and immediately became furious. Are these two people deliberately looking for trouble? You two, don't go too far. Jiang Yourong said coldly, otherwise I will call the police. Call the police? Call the police. Call the police at will. Zhang Yu sneered, took a look and said, where we go is none of your business. Is it okay for you to come here to eat, but not for me? How can a bitch like you have such temper? When Yi Xian heard the word bitch, his face darkened and he was about to step forward. Jiang Yourong pulled Yi Xian to the barbecue restaurant. Yi Xian, ignore them. At this time, Zhao Peng came over from the other side and tried to pull Jiang Yourong. Did I let you go? Before Zhao Peng could react, Yi Xian moved his fingers, an invisible airflow gushed out, and the tire of the black car suddenly exploded. Bang! Zhao Peng and Zhang Yu immediately lost their balance and fell forward, sprawling on their backs. This scene scared the passers-by around. Jiang Yourong also gave him a surprised look. The tire was fine just now, how come it suddenly burst? Could it be you who did this? Jiang Yourong asked in surprise. Yishen shrugged and smiled faintly. Maybe it's because I'm too handsome, so everyone loves me and cars get flat tires when they see me. Pooh. After Yishen and Jiang Yourong entered the store, Zhang Yu and Zhao Peng then staggered to their feet. Both of them fell miserably. Damn it, it must be Yishen who did it. Zhao Peng gritted his teeth. The tire burst for no apparent reason just now. It must be Yishen's doing. I'll call someone right away. I'm going to give him a hard time today. Inside the Xiaodongbei barbecue restaurant, Aunt Sun saw Yishen at a glance and hurried over to him. When she saw Jiang Yourong, she couldn't help but be stunned. She didn't expect Yishen to bring another beautiful girl here. Every time Yishen came to the restaurant to eat, he would bring a different top beauty with him. At first it was Sukasan, and later it was Baiqing. Xiao Yi, you are finally here. What's going on tonight? Why did you invite a big boss to eat at my small restaurant? He is used to eating in 5-star hotels. Will he think my restaurant is shabby? Aunt Sun was a little nervous, worried that he would be disliked because of its low quality. Don't worry, there is no one in the entire Yunhai City who is better at barbecue than you. Yishen smiled and waved his hand, then walked towards the private room first. The driver, a Bao, was standing outside the door. When he saw Yishen coming, he quickly opened the door. Seeing Yishen coming, Wang Qianbar quickly stood up. Master Yi, I am so lucky to have you treat me to a meal. I will toast you 3 glasses first. After Wang Qianbar finished speaking, he poured 3 glasses of white wine and drank them all in one gulp, very generously. Uncle, drink less and don't hurt yourself, Wang Miaoyin said. In fact, she didn't know Yishen's true identity. She only knew that her uncle admired Yishen very much. Seeing this scene now, she was extremely surprised. For so many years, others had always toasted the uncle with wine, but now the situation has been reversed. As soon as Yishen entered the door, Wang Qianbar had already drunk 3 glasses of wine in a row. Yishen is too proud. Jiang Yourong was also very surprised. Mr. Wang, the president of Shenyuan Group, actually took the initiative to toast a college student? And 3 cups in one drink. TSK, who would believe it if I told them? Jiang Yourong sat down next to Yishen, and Wang Miaoyin sat on the other side. For a moment, Yishen was surrounded by beauties. Jiang Yourong wore a white miniskirt, over the knee white stockings, and crystal stiletto high heels, looking gentle and charming. Wang Miaoyin was wearing a black miniskirt, black lace stockings, and black high heels with red soles, looking hot and passionate. Extreme black, extreme white, it depends on which one you like. Smelling the fragrance emanating from the delicate bodies of the 2 beauties, Yishen couldn't help swallowing his saliva. He looked up and saw Wang Qianbar smiling at him foolishly. Yishen smiled. How could he not guess Wang Qianbar's little thoughts? Wang Qianbar looked at Jiang Yourong and sighed silently, feeling that Jiang Yourong was really lucky to be able to climb up Yishao, the giant dragon that was about to take off. When Yishao really grows up, Jiang Yourong will definitely feel extremely lucky for her choice today. At first, he thought Jiang Yourong was just an ordinary reporter. It was not until he sent someone to investigate that he was surprised to find out that Jiang Yourong's identity was not simple either. Who would have thought that a young reporter from a TV station would be the daughter of the governor of Yunnan province? My niece has to work harder. He looked at Wang Miaoyin, winked, and said with a smile, Miaoyin, you are about the same age as Mr. Yi and Miss Jiang. You can communicate more and learn more from them in the future. Why don't you toast them? Wang Miaoyin smiled slightly and picked up the wine glass. I opened an entertainment company in Yuncheng, and I am selecting new people to debut at the university. If Yishao has a suitable candidate, please help me keep an eye out. Tilder. Jiang Yourong said calmly, college students should focus on their studies. It's not good to be too utilitarian in entertainment, right? Really? Wang Miaoyin looked at Jiang Yourong with a smile. Jealousy broke out between the 2 women. Yishen continued to eat the skewers as if no one was around, murmuring as he ate, this skewers taste good, if you guys don't want to eat it, I'll eat it first. At the same time, Zhao Peng called 5 or 6 thugs he knew before, and rushed into the barbecue restaurant with Zhang Yu. Where's that kid Yixian? And where's that stinky woman? Get them out. Zhao Peng started cursing as soon as he entered the door. When Aunt Sun saw someone coming in aggressively, she quickly stepped forward to stop him. Don't be angry, let's talk it over. Sit down first, I'll pour you some water. Zhao Peng pushed Aunt Sun away and said with a look of disgust, get out of the way. You look so dirty. Who the hell would drink your water? Aunt Sun looked embarrassed, took a step back, and said nervously, then I'll get you a stool to sit on. Unexpectedly, he accidentally touched Zhang Yu's clothes. Zhang Yu immediately yelled, old man, are you deaf? Open your eyes and look at the brand of my suit. Can you afford to pay for it if you dirty it? An employee of a nearby barbecue restaurant couldn't stand it anymore and angrily said, why are you cursing as soon as you come in? Do you have any manners? Our work is a little dirty, but the money we earn is clean. You are not welcome here. Before he could finish, Zhang Yu and several thugs rushed over and pinned him to the ground. Zhao Peng didn't expect that a lousy worker would dare to tell him what to do, and he immediately got angry. I'm going to say this for the last time. Get Yixian and Jiang Yourong out here. Chapter 28, Midnight.